Wherever you at, wherever you at in this world, listen up. Yo, I spit this for my family, the people, the earth. And we've been at this a long time now, digging the dirt. I mean, like putting in work. Forget the friction. We were brought here right now for a reason. Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to episode 36 of In a Good Way podcast. Today, my special guest is Shannon Nicole.
Shannon Roc now.
Shannon Roc. Also she goes by the Weedium. Very talented, I don't know, talent is the right word. It's okay. So this is one of my most, the interviews I've been most excited about, because when I started the whole podcast, I wanted to bring on pure people that I knew I could vouch for, right? With this whole spiritual journey. And so, I could say, obviously the circumstances weren't the greatest, but I could vouch for Shannon like 1,000,000%, right? If that exists, right? So that's why I wanted to bring her on. Very excited to have her here. Even already right now, we're talking enough that could have been a whole episode. So it's like, all right, let's just stop and hit record because we were just talking way too much. So thank you for being here, Shannon. It's an honor to finally, because we've tried to do this for a bit.
So long. I know.
Yeah.
No, this is awesome, man. We go back, we go back a minute. So it's really cool that I remember you coming over to my house one day. I don't know if you stopped in that day or we were recording or something, but it was kind of when my gift, I finally started saying, okay, I'm going to do this. And it was somebody that I remember you talked about the traffic was weird and you hesitated coming over, and then I remember I had anxiety, and then I remember somebody, it was like your mom's uncle or your uncle or somebody had come through, like just weird shit you can't explain, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just weird, like knowing you even before that, and then kind of this journey starting and developing in this whole other spiritual realm is just crazy,
No, most definitely. No, and I had already known you for 3 years because of your husband. I met your husband first. We were working on a commercial together. So say hello to Jimmy for me when you see him. And he had told me, oh, my wife, I don't know if he said she's like an A&R or something. I gave him music, and then I guess he showed it to you, and then so finally, 3 years after, I went over. I think we were working on a song, and with me, I was used to it always happened like that. I was always the one to be like, because I brought it up. I was like, I don't know if you're into the spiritual stuff, and you were just like, oh wait, I've been wanting to tell you this, but
I had to wait for like an opening though. I had to wait for like spirit to give me a sign that I could talk about this kind of stuff.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah. And I guess now, okay, I don't know how far back. So we'll just come back to what we were talking about then, because damn, I kind of want to lead up to it, I guess, now since we started,
Yeah, well, I mean, this whole the whole thing we're talking about is like the spiritual journey that we've been on, and the things that you and I have we've experienced, and now that we haven't talked in so long.
Yeah.
Now we're actually talking about like these things that have happened to us, and with the pandemic, man, I did a lot of spirit work. I mean, everybody was looking for somebody, and a lot of COVID, deaths, a lot of people. And when I say not just COVID deaths, I'm talking even deaths because of COVID, meaning drug overdoses, people that decide to leave by their own choices, suicides, like things like that. And for whatever reason, those tend to be my specialties. Like a doctor has a specialty. You've got doctors that deliver babies, and you've got, doctors that perform heart surgery. I think my specialty happened to be, drugs and the dark places for whatever reason. It took me a minute to realize the reason I think they choose me for that kind of stuff is because either I know I've lived it in my past lives, but also I understand that pain.
Wow.
And I think you need somebody that can truly say, man, I'm either willing to go there to deliver your messages, or I have been there on the brink. And you start to realize, oh my God, this is I've been called,
Oh shit. No.
And it's crazy, and you go with it, and the more your gifts develop, then you mentioned astral traveling. I never knew what it was called for the longest time, but I knew that I would be in a place, and I literally, my whole thing is, if I feel like, that kind of that in between dream state where you don't know if you're awake or asleep, I always look at the clock for a reference.
Mm.
Because if I can literally look at the clock and document the time, I know I'm awake. I'm in
Ah,
reality,
yeah.
but I'm also in this other plane. I'm also in this other dimension.
Mm.
And last night, you and I talked before we started really recording about how you had anxiety, a little bit of nerves. I was a little nervous and anxiety, and I couldn't figure out why and how. Then we talked about, you mentioned, I said, I kept getting woken up. I couldn't sleep last night. And you're like, I couldn't sleep last night either. Like, and I know now that most people are going to be like, oh, that's crazy. That's bullshit. That's just coincidence. No, there's no such thing as coincidence. There is only synchronicity.
Yeah.
And I think the more that you are open, the more that people are open to say, okay, maybe it's not just what we're doing right here. Maybe there is something more. Maybe I do have the ability to connect on a different level if I just, allow myself to think it's possible. And I think once people get to that point, they realize, well, shit, I know for me, it's like I talk to dead people. How much crazier can it get? I see people that aren't there. You can't, like, I don't think it can get people, I can scare anybody anymore if they're going to be afraid.
Yeah.
So like I said, astral traveling. Last night, I kept getting woken up by this person. And it's almost like when you're dreaming, you can see them, but you can't see them clear, but it's almost like if you're looking at somebody through blurry glasses. You can see the outline. Like, this guy had dark curly hair. He had a beard, dark beard. He was a little heavy set. He had glasses on, and he kept waking me up.
Mm.
And I remember specifically he was wearing, it looked like a button down shirt, and his sleeves were, how some people roll their sleeves up, and it was plaid. And it specifically, I think it was like a blue and white plaid and jeans. And he kept waking me up, and I'm like, who is this and what do you need? Like,
Yeah. No, because
you know?
no, let me tell you, last night I dreamed, I actually wrote it down right when I woke up so I didn't forget. But I was like, there's no way I'm going to be the one to say it. Like, I had a dream someone I knew that their husband passed away. So, yeah, it wasn't you though. So,
No,
just,
no, I mean, I'm not like, yeah, I mean,
yeah. No,
but
but like my things are pretty dead on too. I guess that's
I
my
know
thing,
yours
right?
are.
Like so, just like how once you notice, like, hey, I see dead people's or whatever. Like me, it was like I dream the future, like with such accuracy that, like, then it's like who could tell me what? Like I know that happened, so the world's already strange to me, right? Like there's unexplainable things. So
Right.
that's why when you told me that, I wasn't like, oh yeah, right or nothing. I was like, why? Oh yeah, you said that. You were like, I remember when you told me, you were like, I'm not crazy, right? I was like, shit, if you're crazy, I'm crazy.
Right, right.
that day, the first day, like you told me, I was like, hey, if you're crazy, I'm crazy. And I was like, no, I know, like, I know who you're talking about, all this stuff. So, no, but go ahead. So, who do you think it was?
I
Because
don't
the,
know.
the way
That's
you
what I'm
described them kind of reminds me of who I dreamed that passed away. But what I see, I don't know if that's how he looked when he was younger. Because sometimes do you see them?
I see them at the time when they were the happiest.
Oh, see, that's why I don't know how this person.
This guy looks young. He doesn't look probably more than like 30s, maybe, how I see him.
Because this person, I dreamed they would wear glasses and they had a long ponytail, but it was always in a ponytail when I seen them. So I don't know if they had curly hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this one definitely didn't have long hair. It's
Oh,
definitely
okay. It
kept
was just curly.
short hair.
Okay,
It
okay.
was just curly, dark. And I keep wanting to say his name's like Matthew or Matt.
Okay, then that's not.
So we'll just remember this, because it's definitely going to be for somebody. This is how it always happens. But
Oh,
I just think it's interesting how they kept waking me up. Every
yeah.
time I think I was comfortable, I would wake up, and every now and then I don't get scared. I just hate the feeling of, when you think you see something, and like when they tell you you think you see something, it's because you did see something. Nine
Yeah,
times
yeah.
out of 10, you're just open. And I sometimes wonder if I'm imagining things, but then if I tell Jimmy ahead of time, or I'll tell somebody, or I'll document it, or I'll text it to somebody, I said, listen, I'm telling you this now because I'm predicting the future and I need to have it in writing. And it always happens.
Yeah.
You know, like even for the Grammys, I called it. I knew some of these people that were going to win. I just
Mm,
knew it. And I don't know how to explain it, but I can see it,
mm.
you know? And I mean, and that could be, you know, because people could say, oh, well, you know, it's the Grammys, that of course they're going to win, but it's, you know, and I know that like the shit we see is real. It's
No, that
not.
happened to me one time, and I posted it to document it. But of course, I talked in code, but I knew it was because I was hiking. Right, it was the day of the Super Bowl, and I was hiking, and I never see a freaking centipede, and it was a centipede, and I took a picture of it. And I looked it up. I was hiking, so I was like, I had reception. I looked it up, spiritual meaning of centipede, and it said the first thing that popped out was the centipede is the totem of chiefs, like I guess like native chiefs. And that day the Chiefs were playing in the Super Bowl. I like the Chiefs are gonna freaking win. But so I put it, I was like, oh, the centipede is the totem of Chiefs. So I left my little, and then sure enough, the Chiefs won. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. But see, with someone like if they hear that, they might be like, well, why don't you get the lottery for yourself or what?
It doesn't
So
work like
I
that.
know exactly. So I don't know if you want to explain. I wonder why. Like I know it doesn't work like that, but how do you think we can explain that? I guess what's a
I
good way?
think the reason that spirit, source, whatever you want to call God, you know, whatever your version of what that is, your higher power, I think there's I think they have to limit us on
Mm,
the type of information that we can share because we are light workers, but not everybody is going to take their gift and use it for the good.
mm,
There are people, as we know, that, you know, will scam people and lie to people and scare people. And those are the kind of people, if you think about, if they have that kind of power, and if that information was readily available, it would be, it would be like like making a monopoly over like everything. Like
mm.
you wouldn't, there would be no, there would be no other winners. You know, people would do that, they would do harm with that information. They would, I mean, it's we're already living in a crazy world. Imagine having access to stocks and, you know, Powerball, and like, dude, it'd be crazy. It'd be like what's that movie? It'd be like Purge.
Mm.
People would go, you know, they'd have to like eliminate a certain amount of people to eliminate crazy. It's crazy. You can't have that.
I think they're trying to push it to that anyways. Just because the whole like whenever they push something so much, then it becomes like it's like they're trying to condition you to make it acceptable, and then
Yeah.
slowly but surely, you know what I mean? And then it's like, oh, there's no food now. Oh, now there's no gas. Oh, now there's, you know what I mean? So then it's like, oh, well, the solution will be the purge. Like, yeah, we kill, half the people. Then, we got all the,
I mean,
you know
look
what I'm
at
saying?
COVID. Look at COVID.
Yeah,
Look
yeah,
at, like, I mean, it's all, that's a whole nother show, but I'm just saying, it's like
yeah,
there
yeah,
are things that are happening in the world that we cannot explain,
yeah, yeah.
you know?
I mean,
And it,
someone can, but,
yeah,
but, you
physically
know,
you and I can't to that
yeah.
level. But then I also, then the flip side of me also wonders, like these gifts that we have, could this be, could we be programmed? Could this be our program and we're living in like this fucking sim?
Oh, I've thought all that. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
yeah,
I start thinking about it and then I get mad because I'm like, why the fuck would you give me a gift that is so helpful to people if it's not even a gift, if it's just like a chip, if I
yeah,
just have access to more rooms in my brain
yeah, yeah,
than
yeah,
the average person? You
yeah.
know what I mean? And
Mm,
then I start thinking, what if I'm not really special? What if we're not really different? And then it just opens up these other rabbit holes. But then I have to come back, you know, at the end of the day and realize, you know what? It doesn't matter, because what I do is not only healing for all of these people, but it has changed me too. It's
mm,
healed me. I look at things in a whole different perspective. I mean, I still get like tightly wound and high strung about shit, but for the most part, everything here is so insignificant.
mm,
And if you really break it all down, what if like this, what we're living right now, really? What if this is the dream? And when we dream, that's when we're really awake, because things are so lucid and real, and there's information that we come back with that we can't explain.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's why I think in the last interview I just did, but I think I've talked about it before, because that's how I see it. Like, how can I dream the future? The best way I see it, it's like a book, right? The book's there, it's written, it's closed. Just because you haven't read it doesn't mean it's gonna change the ending, the middle, the beginning. It's there. So when I see the future, I feel like I just tapped into life's big book, like stepping outside of this little simulation or whatever it is. And I'm just like, oh shit, okay, that's gonna happen. Then I come back to this, from, I guess, the real world. Come back here and it's like, oh, okay. Because how you talked about like seeing weird stuff. Like, out of all things, the anniversary of my brother's passing is coming up. And my friend that was very significant to me, he passed away January 5th. And it was
This year?
crazy. Yeah, just January 5th. And it was
Wow.
crazy because out of all things, it was like an accident on the freeway, and it was like 5 or 6 people, and he's the only one that passed away. And out of all things, he passed away January 5th, and they finally weeks later came up with the funeral date, and it's on the anniversary of my brother's passing. I mean, come on.
That
Like,
means they're together.
oh wow. But
That's
it's just, but see, like how we're talking about, doesn't it seem like too accurate? Like, okay, like out
Mhm.
of all, then it seems like out of all days, and someone that he's the first one that took me to my first native ceremony. So he started that
That's
whole,
right. I remember you
yeah,
telling me about him.
he started that whole part of my life, right? So he was important in that. My brother was very important, like I mean, not just that, but even that. I feel like he saved my life at one point, right? Because of him, I went to the military. So in a way, he started the whole thing of my life. My friend started the whole. So it's like, I don't know. It's just very significant. I feel like, and then that on the same, you know what I mean? It's just, so when those things happen, then it feels, there's a part of me, like how you say, I don't take things seriously because I'm like, well, I don't know what the hell this place is anyway.
Right,
Yeah. So,
right.
you know what I mean? Um,
I think it all boils down to intuition too.
yeah.
Like we know to trust our gut, like our intuition and our instinct. And a lot of people, I call them, I don't know what to call them. I just feel like we're just this is how my friend described people like us that have
Mm,
these abilities versus just you're just everyday typical person walking around that doesn't either hasn't tapped into these gifts or just isn't open at all.
mm,
She said we all find each other at some point, and then so let's say we meet, but it's never for that one initial happenstance. There's
mhm,
always a bigger purpose, because if you think about a lot of the ways you meet people that end up being big parts of your life, it's in the fucking weirdest situations. Like you met Jimmy on a commercial set, and then
yeah.
I happened to pick up some of your music for TV and film. It's like, I mean, that happens in LA, I guess. That's why people move to LA, right? But I mean, it's just, I know that I knew in the beginning it wasn't just about music. It was much deeper than that, and it was just a matter of time before we both had lived like certain life experiences to fill in the gaps so we could see the big picture. And here we are, and we're here on this day specifically, and your brother was one of the first people that came to me in the beginning with such accuracy.
Mm.
And I, like I still talk about him to this day.
Oh
Like
wow.
I still remember what he was wearing when he came to me. I remember details. And there are a lot of people I talk to a lot of people on the other side. I have a lot of readings, and there's a lot of things when I'm in the moment, like in the trance, in that when I'm channeling, Shannon's gone. Like I left the building. I'm literally just a vessel downloading all this information, and I am the vehicle to put it out to the people that I'm supposed to put it out to. But your brother was very specific and very detailed, and to me I've only known him to be alive.
Mm.
So it's hard a lot of times too when I talk to people who have lost somebody, especially in the manner that we lost your brother. um it, it's harder for me because I feel that pain with you, but I don't know him to be anything other than alive. and happy.
Yeah.
But for him to choose me out of anybody he could have chosen was fucking cool, you know, because
Yeah.
he knows how much I adore you. And I think I think he knew that I was legit enough, like at that point, even though I was still new and telling people about my gift, I think he knew, like, he knew that my specialty was his choice. That was
Yeah.
his recipe, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
down from like the room that I walked into, you know,
Mm.
down to the windowsill
Yes, exactly. No,
and the
and I,
necklace.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So that's when it was like even that on the way, you live hours away and like from where he was. And I remember on the drive there, like we were texting and you told me, oh, there's this necklace and this and that. And you told me what it said on it, everything. And so when we got there, it's probably like a week after he had passed or a little longer. And we went to his house. And then after, even walking to the room where it happened and everything, where he passed. Uh oh shit, I don't even like saying it no more, but just in case anybody's watching, like whatever, like like he took his life, so it's like that, right? Like it just I don't know why it feels nasty saying that, right? But uh, that's what happened. And so when I was walking to the room, there was this thick energy, like it was the second story, so just walking up, whatever. But when I finally got to the room, like yeah, you were telling me like I guess we stopped communicating for a while because you were telling me you'll be able to hear them yourself and stuff like that. Just
Mhm.
but I don't know. I felt like I couldn't. You know what I mean? I don't know what it was, and then I don't know if you said something about the window, or I had told you about the
No,
window.
I
I don't.
walked in the room. I walked in the room and I said, go into his room. And I said, go to the window by the bed. And you said the bed's not there anymore. And I said,
Mm,
go to the window that would have been to the right of the bed. I didn't know how many windows were in there. I was just looking at the room that he showed me, and it had a
yeah,
bed in it.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
said, that's where I said, there's a necklace or something on the window. There's something on the windowsill. And it's
Mm.
and I remember he said, my best friend.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. And it was something
So
he had given to my niece, and she had the. I have it still.
it's
She
a
said,
best friend necklace.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She had the other half, and when I text her, I was like, "Hey, did your dad ever give you anything?" And at first, she was like, "Oh," because I didn't want to tell her. You know what I mean? I wanted
Mhm.
her to. So she was like, she was like, oh, she was like, oh, I don't know. And then after, she's like, oh, he gave me this necklace that said best friends, right? And then so yeah,
That's what he showed
yeah,
me.
she had the other half, and I don't think I ever showed. I don't know if I ever showed you, but this
I
one,
think you might have texted it to me a
yeah,
long
yeah,
time ago, but it was on the windowsill, and that's why he said
yeah,
to
yeah,
go to that
exactly.
windowsill.
And that was a weird thing. Imagine the whole room; they had taken out the bed, they had everything, and the window still had blinds, so the blinds were literally on top of it. And I went to the window. I think I told you there's nothing here. I don't know.
Yeah, and I said, open the window. What do you
Yeah,
see? And you said, I see the neighbor's house. And then you
yeah,
lifted the blinds up
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and it was sitting on the windowsill.
yeah, yeah, under the blind. So it was weird.
It's
But
crazy.
yeah, once you experience something like that, like, I already know because I had already experienced things, but that was something completely different, right? Like I don't have that gift, right? Like
But
how?
that was astral traveling too, because I was with your brother walking through that house
Ah,
that I've never been in. Oh,
yeah, yeah,
remember
yeah.
I drew a picture of the house. Remember that?
I don't remember that.
I texted you a picture of the house that I drew, and you're like, yes. And then you
Shit, I
sent
don't
me a
remember that.
picture, and it had these wood beams in the front. I just remembered like these wood beams in the front at the front door, and there was like a garage with a driveway in front of it. And there was, like I said, there's a window up at the top that looked like, it looked like a I call them the peekaboo windows. That's like the windows that are on the top of the roof where it's above everything else. You can
Yeah,
see
yeah,
everything.
that's
Um,
interesting.
and yeah,
I don't
man,
remember you telling me none of that, but it sounds accurate right now, so I
God,
could tell you that at least.
I mean, it's
Well,
just, yeah.
back then everything was like I don't remember so much from then. You know what I mean? So it was.
I know, and like I said, I don't usually remember things from readings or
Mm,
stuff like that, but that one hit me so hard. That one was just like so intense.
mm.
Like I couldn't shake it off for a long time.
I know. I felt bad after for a while. I felt bad for you because I know, like, even after that happened, I remember driving one day. I went to a really dark place after that. All that. Remember, I was driving. I was fucking like losing it. Shit. I just realized like last episode I did, I cussed more than I've ever cussed.
Oh
Like
my
I
God,
try
I'm sorry too, because I'm so bad, dude.
no,
I
no,
can't.
it's fine. If you feel no, if you're comfortable, just do it. And then hey, if it comes out of me too, then it is what it is.
Passion.
It was meant to. Huh?
It's passion.
Yeah, yeah, it is really, it is. So, but I remember I was losing it, and I was driving, and you literally text me like, "Hey, calm down." So I was like, "Damn, that's crazy." But no, it helped, like, of course, because like shit, I wasn't telling anybody like, "Hey, I'm in a." I just was driving and going wherever, like, you know what I mean, trying to, I don't know.
Live. You're trying to just get through it.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
only way
yeah.
is through.
Yeah.
And
Well,
that's
even that, see, because to me, I always explain to people why it even hit me harder. Like people don't realize that. Like even right after that happened to him, like I get the same thing. I just don't see it like how I see it like that in the dreams. I've had premonitions while I'm awake, but I know after him it got really intense, but then I blocked it, and now I'm becoming open again. Now I'm letting it flow. You even helped me because I remember right after it happened. I started hearing voices and stuff. Wow. And you told me that about how you treat it like a business. Like you tell them, hey, these are my hours. Well, go ahead. Like, what do you like? Because you tell them you don't want to see them either, right? And that kind of
yep.
stuff. So if you don't mind sharing that part.
Yeah, a lot of times people are always like, "Well, God, this is." A lot of people, we're so in it. I don't. It's hard to be objective, but they're like, "How do you do this? How do you hear from all these people?" Because there will be times I'm literally driving down the road. The first time that I ever started really hearing the voices, for instance, I was just driving down the road. I was in Nashville. The radio was not on. The windows were up. It was early in the morning, so there was nobody on the road. And all of a sudden, I started hearing all of these conversations happening at once. Imagine
Mm,
if you literally have 20 TVs on, like on a on news channels where it's like commentary and everybody's talking and some get louder than others and you're trying to decipher the conversations and you hear so many different people. And I kept thinking it's the radio. And then it started sounding like it was like changing frequencies, like an old radio dial, like tuning in. And that's when I called my doctor and I was like, listen, because I was on anxiety medicine because I was in a robbery like not long, like a year or
no.
so before that. Yeah,
Oh
like at
wow.
this Mexican restaurant. It's crazy.
Wow.
So probably like PTSD that I never had, you know, worked through or talked about because I looked at it as like, oh, I'm alive, nothing happened. I guess I'm okay. But it's again, you suppress certain feelings of fear and stuff. If you don't work through them, then you carry this shit and you don't know why.
Yeah, yeah.
So, and it manifests in different ways. So, I went to the doctor or I called the doctor and she's like, well, I said, can you guys just up my meds? I was like, I think I was on anxiety medicine or
Oh,
something,
wow.
like
Yeah, yeah.
Xanax or something. I said, maybe because I said, I'm having like, I'm hearing these voices and it's like, it's just distracting. And all of a sudden, the real doctor got on the phone and she's like, Shannon, are you driving right now? And I was like, yeah. She goes, can you pull over? And I was like, okay. So I pulled over. She goes, are these voices telling you to do anything? And at
Ah.
that point, I was like, oh my God, they're going to fucking have me committed. They
Oh
think I'm
shit.
crazy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So at that point I was just like, okay, they equated it to you're not sleeping. Sometimes when you don't sleep you have auditory hallucinations,
Mm,
but then you also have auditory hallucinations when you have schizophrenia. So
mm,
instantly I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm crazy.
mm,
I've talked to many people. I'm not crazy, highly functioning. It's just this gift. And some people can turn it on and some people can turn it off and some people, can leave it on and just be on call. I've gotten to the
mm.
point now where in the beginning I couldn't turn it off because I was so excited. I
Oh
wanted to
wow.
I wanted to read everybody.
Oh wow.
Where then it goes on also too, in the beginning you don't know how to cut the cord. That's a whole
Mm.
nother thing. If you don't cut the cord to the people that you're talking to, they're still attached to you, so they're going to still bug you because you're
Oh.
open, you're connected, you didn't send them away.
Oh wow.
So all of these things collectively, just inexperience on the knowledge of what control and what power that I actually have, instead of feeling obligated or thinking, oh, I'm in service, I'm going to do this all the time. I didn't know that I could say yes or no. I didn't know that it was my option. I thought that, okay, this is my gift. I have to take everything that's thrown at me and I have to figure out how I'm going to prioritize my time. And then it becomes about people that aren't even here anymore. And then you lose sleep. And I lost so much weight because I wasn't eating. I was getting severe anxiety because I was taking on the physical ailments of people, which is what I do. So it finally got to the point where I realized, oh my God, I have the power to turn it off. So as soon as I said I would hear voices, I would be like, nope, not today, guys. I'm too tired, or it's after hours, or I'll let you know when I'm available. And so now I'll go weeks at a time, and I know that if somebody needs me, I tune in real quick.
Oh, wow.
It's almost like I'm always on call, but I have backup if I'm not available. You know what I
Oh,
mean? Like it's like if Shannon's not available, we're gonna go call the other Shannon, or we're gonna hit it. We're gonna hit O up. Maybe O can help us. We're gonna visit him in a dream and see if he can help us. So it's like everybody has their first option. Again, like doctors, right? You're a
yeah.
patient. You always have your specific healthcare providers that you want to see, that you love. It's no different than light workers. They have their trusted light workers. So I've learned to be able to turn it on and off. When I had your brother coming through, I did not know how to turn it off back then.
Oh, wow.
And I knew that he needed me. So I was like, I can't turn it off because his mom's going to need me. His kids are going to need me. O's going to need me. And it's you focus, but then you get to the point where you learn to tell spirit and the loved ones on the other side that, listen, you guys come to me with what's really, really urgent.
Yeah.
And you come to me when you know that I'm going to be able to be fully available and fully present. So now nobody bothers me. And sometimes I'm like, okay, guys, I'm open. I haven't heard from anyone in a while. I'm here to help. But I realize the reason I haven't heard from them is because I'm so busy. How am I going to give an accurate reading if I've got all this other noise?
Yeah.
If I can't truly focus, how am I going to do the people on the other side service if I can't even accurately, provide helpful or loving information responsibly if I'm not even in it?
Yeah.
So I've learned to turn it off, and you literally have to learn how to turn it off. It's like, imagine yourself turning off a light switch. Just I sometimes in the beginning I used to go, it's so dumb.
No, that's awesome. I'm gonna start doing that.
And even like if I feel negative energy or like vibes come through that I don't like, I'm like, I imagine the little negative energy. I'm like,
Oh.
remove. And then it's like gone. And I'm like, it's like
Wow.
stupid stuff like the physical motions truly help. If you don't want to be on, sometimes I'm like, nope, because I can feel like, I guess part of me is still open, but I want to be closed. But then I'm like, oh, but I kind of want to be open because what if it's good? It's like,
Ah.
what if it's a good one? Because it is. Sometimes it's like you get when I say a good one, the ones where everybody feels so healed. Like it's so powerful, like where it overcomes I get consumed with their emotions as well. But I mean, I guess my advice is when we're talking about turning it on and off, boop, turn it
Yeah.
off. If you want to be on, boop, or imagine yourself flipping a neon sign on a door that says open, closed. I always had one that says good morning and the other one says night night. Like I'm
Ah.
crazy,
No, that's awesome.
But it's getting to the point now where I'm seeing part of me wants to see people in a not scary way, right? So there are certain things now, and I told Jimmy, I don't know if I'm dreaming or I saw this, but how, again, going back to the whole sim thing, like living in a sim, and they say deja vu, things like that. It's like glitches in the sim.
Yeah, that's what
Like
I say. Glitches in the
yeah,
matrix. Yeah.
yes. Like shit just is like updating, and stuff gets crossed, or part of the story that didn't make it in the final edit got fucking mixed in with the final edit. I think of it like, this is how I think. Everything in
Yeah.
my head is like visual, like a movie, like a story. It's like
Yeah.
Super 8 film. And I was sitting on the couch, and this is where I'm like, dude, am I fucking crazy? Was I dreaming or was I awake? Because I was sitting on my couch, and I said, I think I'm in spirit today because it's a low key day. And all of a sudden, I could have sworn I saw myself walk from my bathroom, just the back of me, from the bathroom caddy corner into my bedroom. And I remember I didn't have a shirt on, but I could only see the back of me, but I had on these camo leggings, almost like I was coming out of the bathroom. I don't even know, like doing my hair or something, because that's why, like out of the shower or something. And I remember sitting there for a split second, and I said to myself, fuck, I think that was a glitch in the matrix. And I said, is that my parallel? Is that the parallel universe me? And somehow some shit got crossed. And I remember physically saying to myself, don't get afraid. Don't get scared. Just call Jessie. Jessie's my best friend that has this gift too.
Oh, okay.
So, and then for whatever reason, I didn't call her. And then I snapped back to reality thinking, well, I'm not going to be afraid because there's nobody there. I look, there's nobody there. But did that really happen, or did I imagine that? Did I dream that? I don't know. But I didn't look at the clock that time. But I remember holding my phone. So it's like, I don't know. But this is where you start to wonder, like, did I literally astral travel so fast that I wasn't able to compute my time gone? Like, there's so many questions I have that I just wish somebody could answer.
Yeah. Well, you answered, even before we started recording, but even right now, you said something that I've never heard anyone say. See, even right now, I feel like I'm in some kind of out of body experience.
Dude,
like,
this is what happens when you're connected with somebody like this. Yes. Yeah. I feel the same with you. I feel the same with you, dude. Every time we're together like this.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's crazy. And then right now you said exactly what I've been telling people that I've never heard anybody else say. The first time it happened to me, I really don't know if it was before my brother passed or after, but a friend was going through some stuff. I was like, all right, I'll go with you. He was like, hey, you mind, like, can you go with me just to have a beer or something at the radio? I'll treat you to eat or whatever. We went. I wasn't hungry, but we get to sit in this, the rest, we're sitting in the bar section, and it's pretty packed, and we're sitting down like at a little table, and he's telling, venting his whole problems and everything. I didn't want to drink. Oh, yeah, because I haven't drank forever. But out of nowhere, just how you said, it's like 20 stations going off at the same time. I felt like I was hearing everyone's thoughts in the whole freaking place at once. And I was like, and it was so overwhelming. And then so the only thing I thought of doing was I text, as he's talking, I'm texting my medicine woman friend. I'm like, can you pray for me? I don't know what the hell's happening to me. And then I message another friend that lives like in Colorado. I'm like, hey, can you pray for me? Because I don't know what the hell's happening to me. And she's like, oh. And then she sends me something. On that day, it was like a super moon planetary alignment. I was like, so I don't know. I kind of just brushed it off to that. Like, for some reason that day, that amplified everything. But so I guess, now you made me feel like that's what it was. I didn't know until you just said that, right? So that's what it was, and I was tapping into the whole, like,
yep. Imagine whenever you're thinking, like, here's how again, everything with me is visual. Yeah, imagine a stage, right? It's a black stage, and there's a baby grand piano, and the person walks out and sits on that bench and is about to start playing. That spotlight has to be exactly in the right exact perfect space for her to be able to perform and for everybody to be able to feel it. So imagine your little positioning of your little antenna has to be in the right frequency, the right alignment. And then without you even realizing it, it's like the earth spinning. It's like you see the moon, the sun, the sun and the moon set. It's the same thing. We're just in rotation, and every now and then you're going to get that superhero amplification because everything, literally the stars are aligned. No pun intended.
Yeah. No, that's and see, so that became my biggest fear. I was like, I don't want that to happen while I'm driving, while something. So I've blocked it off. Like, and just to like what you said about I've shared this so many times, but I've seen multiple realities a lot. That's one thing I've seen. But when it happened to me while I was awake, I was in the shower, and I've always given this example. Like, we come to this earth through water, right? Through the woman's womb, through water. We're encased in water. That's the portal. So, of course, it would happen in the shower, right? I was immersed in water. Out of nowhere, I started seeing all these realities. So just like how you said, all the stations on at once, but I was seeing it. And I was like, like that. Like, see, if I had a
Like
doctor,
the
I would have been like,
pictures are laid out real fast,
yeah,
right? Like
yeah. I would like,
everything's being laid out. Yes.
boom. But it's like how I'm seeing you. But if I saw there was like 50 TVs on at
Yes.
once,
Yes.
and so see, if I had a doctor, I would have been like, give me meds. Like it was so, I dropped to my face. I was just praying, like, please take it away, please take it away, please take it away. And they took it away, but it lasted like a good, I don't know, maybe almost a minute. Like, and picture that, like you feel like you're going nuts. See, I mean, I don't know if you want to share, because I think when you first started telling me about your gift, you told me about how when you were young,
Yeah.
didn't they send you to the doctor or something? I don't know. You want to talk? That's too personal.
No, no. They actually, it's crazy. When I was little, I grew up in a very religious household. My mom was Catholic. I was baptized Catholic, but then my mom married my dad, and I was adopted. So just like
Mm.
precursor, my birth mother passed away in a tragic car accident. I
Oh
was
wow,
2 months old, and she was 17.
wow.
Teen mom, uh, moved away from home. It like ran away at 12, lived with a bunch of different people.
Mm.
Um, just kind of uh, uh, like a hippie commune lifestyle, very weird. And she, after she died, I was in a crib. My aunt and uncle adopted me. So her older sister and her husband adopted me.
Mm.
I remember being in a crib, probably 2 years old, and we lived in Oklahoma at the time. My parents were both in the military, so they were stationed in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. So we had a house out there. And one morning, my mom came in to wake me up because we had to get up super early to go to the babysitters and stuff. Uh, she turned on the light in the corner of my room. I had a little kitchen set. It was shaped like a hippopotamus. It was yellow and purple. I could still see it.
That's awesome.
And around the corner, there was this little boy with like a little bowl cut, black
Mm.
hair, cut very straight. I always used to say it was this little Asian boy. He
Mm.
looked like a little Asian boy to me. And he kept peeking out of the corner. And I remember him saying, "Do you want to play?" But his mouth didn't move.
Mm.
And I knew at that age, nobody was supposed to be in my room. So I remember my mom coming in. I screamed. Nobody was there.
Mm.
For many years, I would see things. Another time, this there was a hole in the wall from where like a nail was, and my
Oh.
parents hadn't hung up. I want to say it was like where the a cross was hanging over my bed or something. I don't even know. And like a decorative kind of thing.
Mm.
And it had must have not been there, that there was still like a little pinhole in the wall. And I remember laying there one morning, again, when my mom came to wake me up, staring at the hole, and this skeleton came out of the hole and then went back in the hole.
What
Like
the?
literally like like a skeleton.
Mm.
Like if you saw the bones of like a skeleton, like a skull. And fast forward many years later, I still had these things that were happening to me, but it was more like on the paranormal side. I didn't know there was a difference between what I do, like the Weedium ship stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and I say Weedium ship because of the Weedium, because I smoke all the weed to do this a lot of times.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't know. I thought it was all the same thing. I thought psychic mediums were fortune tellers with tarot cards. I didn't know
Mm.
that meant they talked to the other side. I
Mm.
didn't, as raised Southern Baptist, you don't, that's the occult. You don't
Yeah.
you don't mess with that. You don't even have those conversations. But I knew that I was seeing things and feeling things that I knew weren't there as a
Mm.
kid. So my mom always knew that I had these weird things that happened, but they brushed it off as, oh, she has an imaginary friend, and things that now I'm older, I'm like, holy shit, these were people way back then. Like my
Yeah.
imaginary friend, he was a little boy, and
Mm.
he was from the 20s, and I lived in a pig town, and he lived in a pig. He was like one of the little farmers of the little pig, the pig farmers, the little boy. And things like that I find out later when I do research. So I did research on my house.
Oh wow.
That house, all of that development, it's Oklahoma. That was all I don't know if it was like reservation land or
Mm.
uh there were at some point the indigenous people of that area had occupied that land, and developers came in and destroyed the land.
Mm.
It's the government.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I think it was like the Corps of Engineers or something like that. So then we found out later too, as I had done some research, that was all old burial grounds. So I believe that person all these years that I thought was a little Asian boy was a Native American boy
Yeah.
because of the same features, the you know, the hair, the jet black hair, and just it just makes sense for the area.
Yeah.
So things like that happened. Would I would see shadow people. Like in my
Mm.
house in Texas, I saw shadow people, but it never scared me. But I never knew they were called shadow people. That's what I called them. And it was always this one man that looked like he was wearing a trench coat and a hat. And
Mm.
he would always be holding a briefcase and step into the shower. But I could never see his whole image. I could just see a silhouette of him. And it would always be out of the corner of my eye. It was never directly on. But I know what I saw enough to draw his outline. So things like this that would happen. Other things where the really scary shit is I lived in St. Louis, and St. Louis is a very like I believe The Exorcist. That whole story was kind of around like one of the original stories like that was based off of this
A real
area.
story? That's St. Louis?
Yes,
Wow, I
yes,
didn't know that.
I believe something like that. And I lived in a house that I just, again, I was like, man, there's something going on here. Cause I always felt downstairs when I'd go downstairs, I'd always smell this heavy perfume, like old lady, like Vejita perfume, like
Mm.
super like old lady perfume. And in my mind, I saw this heavy set black woman with a beautiful purple and black hat and this floral dress, like she was going to church.
Mm.
And she would always be down there when I'm washing clothes. And again, I didn't see her physically, but I'd see her like I'm looking at you through a screen. I would see her, but she's not there, but I can see her, but
Mm.
not like a real person. I just know in my mind's eye she's there.
Yeah, yeah.
And finally, it got to the point I said, listen, I don't mind that you're here, but you scare me. I just don't want to see you. And I remember one point I was like, and your perfume is so strong.
Mm.
And after that, I wasn't as afraid anymore. But I ended up one night going to bed, and all of a sudden, I'm woken up in the middle of the night and I hear, Shannon, Shannon. And I lived by myself. So
Mm.
that scared the shit out of me. And I was like,
Yeah.
and at that point, you don't know what it is. I just knew my house was haunted. I was like,
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, just please go away. Please go away. And I remember at that point, I think I started praying. Back then, that's what I did.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then another time, this is when I think this is at the point where my lease was up, and I was just like, I got to get the fuck out of Dodge because I can't deal with this. It was another thing too. I lived in it. It was a beautiful 2-bedroom with a sunroom. It was like in this beautiful brick house. The house looked creepy as fuck anyway. I should have just, should have been the red flag to like run,
Yeah,
like no
yeah, yeah.
wonder it was so cheap. Nobody told me that shit was haunted.
Well, let me
So
ask you real quick. Back then, you didn't have anyone to talk to about all
no,
this?
because I
Oh,
didn't.
okay.
I was religious. Like you don't talk about this shit. Who am I gonna
And
call?
there was no YouTube, no.
No,
Yeah,
man. This
exactly.
is like 2005.
Oh,
Like
okay.
you don't. Who are you gonna talk to? And in that area, like if you talk about that shit, like you're crazy. You
Yeah,
don't.
yeah,
This is the Midwest. That's some crazy talk. And it just got to the point where I said, okay, well, I guess this is it. I'm just gonna have to deal with whatever's here. I said, just don't fucking scare me.
yeah.
I
Mm.
went to bed one night, and at the time, this guy that I knew, there was a place where we like all the venues where we would play shows and stuff were right down the street. You could walk from my place. So every now and then when he'd play a show or go out, it's like he didn't want to drive home. And I was like, dude, just you come crash. I'll leave a key, come crash on the couch.
Mm.
So I remember I didn't want to go out that night, and I said, you know what, if you're gonna be out, just don't drive all the way to your mom and dad's, just come crash at my place or whatever. So I remember hearing him come in, and I got up to go check on him, and I saw him, and he was already passed out on the couch. I went in to turn the TV off, and I remember he still had all of his clothes on, shoes, everything, and he took his glasses off and put him in this little tray that I had on my ottoman.
Who was
With
this real quick? Because I.
this guy, a friend of mine in
Okay.
St. Louis.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, a friend of mine in St. Louis.
No, you said it, but I was just like, it's like I'm
Yeah,
listening to. Okay, go
I
ahead.
know,
Go
I
ahead.
know. There's so much going on.
No,
So
no.
anyway, that night I went to bed. I was like, okay, he's passed out. I'm gonna go to bed. So I went to bed, and then I woke up in the middle of the night because it was weird. He got into my bed. I saw him get into, or I woke up and I saw the back of him, no shirt, but he had on these red plaid pajama pants.
Mm.
And I was like, well, that's fucking weird. I was like, whatever. So I just went back to sleep. And then I remember getting woken up again because he got out of the bed. And I'm thinking, dude, I never heard him come back or anything. So I was like, dude, he must be sick or hammered or just like completely obliterated to come get in the bed thinking that this is his bed.
Mm.
So I wake up the next morning and I go out in the living room and he's still, I walked out in the living room thinking to see if he had left. And then he's still on the couch
Mm.
in the same freaking clothes he had on when I saw him when I went to bed.
Oh, wow.
So who was in my bed? He
Mm.
never changed and went and got in my bed.
Mm.
But somebody was in my bed that looked, I just assumed it was him. He was the only one in my house, but red plaid pants. And then this is the kicker. Then I was like, okay, this is fucking tripping me out. He was like, have you seen my glasses? And I was like, well, you put them on he goes, did you move my glasses? I was like, no, I saw them on the tray where I saw you put them down last night. He goes, they're not here. I don't know where I put them. And I'm like, you're drunk. You're drunk. Who knows? Like maybe you moved them in the middle of the night. I don't know. So he ends up leaving. That morning I'm going in my room and I'm cleaning because I think this is like a Sunday or something. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to clean. So I'm doing the laundry and I'm making my bed and I move the pillow, and on the side where I saw the person in my bed are his glasses laid neatly folded underneath my pillow.
Wow.
I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I didn't know. So that's paranormal.
Yeah.
But now I realize, now that I'm on this side, I realize those aren't, those weren't, it's not, houses aren't haunted. They're occupied by energy that's either stuck or doesn't want to leave.
Mm.
They're earthbound spirits, because none
Wow.
of that was scary. It was scary because it was unnerving. Nobody wants to be woken up in the middle of the night by somebody that's not there whispering their name. That's fucking just scary.
Yeah.
That nobody wants that.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where now that I know what I know that that was probably somebody it was probably a child being silly, but I also feel like there was a family that lived there once and they're stuck. So I don't know if somebody died suddenly or unexpectedly. I never pulled the information on the house. I probably, now that there's research and stuff, I should. But I truly believe now I had the gift back then and they knew it, but I didn't know it. I just assumed a haunted house is a haunted house and a ghost is a ghost and it's all scary. And I didn't know that these ghosts are spirits that are living in our plane, but still in a different dimension, but they are able to communicate with people that are open and that have the ability and the gift. And they saw that I did, but again, I didn't know that there was a difference between me helping them to the other side and maybe making my place a little more comfortable, or they're just evil ghosts,
Mm.
because things were happening, like my heating bill in this little, I mean, it was a nice size place, but it's St. Louis. I mean, it wasn't expensive. My radiator bill to heat the place was more than my rent.
Oh,
My rent was like $700 a month. My gas bill was like, or my heating bill was like, it was like $1,500 one winter. I
wow.
called the gas company or whoever, I guess it's gas. And I said, can you guys check? I think I got billed for the whole building because there were,
Mm.
I think, 4 units in the whole building, in the whole house. They were like, no, ma'am, this is just yours. And I was like, that's ridiculous. And then things started happening in the house. And I knew at that point, okay, because when there's energy in the room or something changes, you feel the cold. Like I have meters like that determine if there's something interrupting that space and changing the temperature in that space. So that it's not me. I know it's not me. It's somebody that's not of this physical plane, but they know that I have my antennas and they're trying to connect with me. So it's just very different now because I don't walk into any situation thinking, it's ghosts. When people do call me though, people call me, I had one girlfriend call me and she's like, listen, I got a friend that's in this house. This weird shit's happened. I said, you can't pay me any kind of amount of money to go out there. I said, y'all need to call a motherfucking priest. That's who
Oh,
you need
wow.
to call, or an exorcist, because that's not I don't mess with that shit. That's like some weird. And then come to find out the girl she had been doing drugs.
Ah, yeah.
So you're also, not only are you messing with the chemicals in your brain, but you're inviting things probably that you shouldn't be inviting because they're
Yeah.
attracted to that negative energy.
Yeah. No, and see, I saw, man, the things I've seen, like, woo. And back then, see, I didn't realize like how strong my gifts were. So now I know I actually saw these things, and it was always, and I don't want to. It's funny because yesterday, after yesterday's interview, for some reason, I finally realized I don't want to talk about like the people from my past no more. Like, maybe I just needed to vent out. Maybe they don't. Maybe they never realized all the damage they did, and maybe I just needed to vent out. Like,
What do
yo,
you mean your past? Like your brother passed?
no,
Like the
no,
people that aren't
relationships.
here?
No,
Oh,
like the relationships.
relationships.
Yeah,
Got
yeah.
it. Got it.
Because for some reason, like that's who I seen the scariest stuff with, and all of them that they were doing stuff that like
Mhm.
for like drugs and stuff like that, or different things, right? Um, or just even different things, like even someone being spiritual. The worst thing I saw was someone that was supposed to be all spiritual, and whatever they were involved with, that was the worst. And that thing threw me out of the dream. It looked like kind of like Venom when he's all like that, but even worse. It was like just this crazy, and it like turned back, like it had her, and I guess I was trying to help her, and it just turned back at me with like this, and it woof, and I woke up, I was like, my heart was beating like do 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 do. I was like, and I tried to get a hold of her for like 4 days. She was like in another state, and finally, like
Oh
she
my
called
God, was
me.
this a couple of years ago?
It was like
I remember this.
it was years ago though. It was like maybe 2018,
This
2017,
was after,
2018.
was this around after, like, it was around your brother,
No,
wasn't
no, it
it?
was before. It was before. I mean, it was like
Okay.
a year before, maybe like a year before.
I remember this girl. I
Do
think I
you? No,
remember
no,
this
no.
girl.
This is a different one. I think this is
It
a
is?
different one.
Because there's
See?
one that came back. Yeah, you're right, dude. These the past. Oh, they're all the same.
Yes. Why? Why do I keep? No, but look it. But so those things. See, so that's how I feel now. Like you couldn't pay me enough money. Like I'm not trying to save nobody. I'm not like now.
Mm-mm.
Like you can't pay me enough. If I feel someone's energy, like even this girl once, I was gonna take her to a native ceremony, and I don't know, there was already something, and all of a sudden I had the word. I felt like it's literally like someone punched me in my stomach, and then my phone starts ringing, and it was her. And this wasn't someone I was involved with, but they were. I was like, "Are you good?" And they're like, "Oh well." I was like, "They're like, well, I feel kind of." I was like, "Yeah, you got something with you. I don't know what it is, but I am like, there was no way I was even gonna take her." And dude, I got my confirmation because when I got to the ceremony, the elder was talking to someone else, and they were like, and they were talking about how, hey, this is like, yeah, you're supposed to bring people to help them, but so like at the same time, we gotta protect our space. And I was like, what? Like, I was like, I felt good, like it was confirmed. I made the right decision, like not to just bring anybody. Like, yeah, they need help, but damn, this is probably like for an exorcism or something. Like, I ain't.
That's what I'm saying. There's
But
a
that's crazy that
difference.
you saw, like, so I don't even want to bring, like, I kind of do because it's my curiosity, right? Like about who, like, or what you got bad energy from whoever I was dealing with, then, huh?
Yes. And she was telling you some shit that I didn't like
Oh,
saying that you're surrounded by that there's she was trying to get in on your spiritual side.
oh, wow.
We were in the studio when she was talking about this. We were in the studio with David.
Oh shit, I don't even remember that. Wow.
Yes. When we went to get tacos and we were talking about her. We were talking about her in the drive-through when we were getting like burritos. That's what it was.
That's funny. Before, remember you were mentioning nachos and stuff.
Oh my
You
God.
you didn't
You're
eat
right.
nachos though, did you? Because I don't remember that day.
No, I ordered a burrito. You
Oh,
got me a
okay.
burrito. Yeah, I didn't order nachos, but it was a Mexican, like a little drive-through, like a little restaurant. Oh
Ah,
my
that's so
God, so
funny.
crazy.
Well, unless it's connected to that, because before we even started recording, you said that.
I
Uh,
know, I know. It's just bizarre.
I forgot what she was trying to. I don't even remember that. Like I'm so like.
I don't remember all of it, but all I remember is there's this one scene that I keep seeing, and I don't know if this is even real or if we
Hmm.
talked about it, but it looks like it's out in the middle of nowhere and it looks like on gravel. And this girl had long dark hair and she was wearing a white shirt and black pants. And she looked like a little on the darker side in terms of like her makeup, like
Complexion.
more goth.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know who she is.
I could feel stuff already. But no, go. But what else?
But
Tell me.
that's all I remember. I just remember her.
But
But
what
I
was that
thought
about? What were we doing
I
there?
think she was, you got, I don't know. I just remember you guys were standing in this area, and all I know is it looks like if you're in an area where it's like a quarry or something of like, I'm surrounded by rocks and I can't see anything around you really, except like if you're looking at, like if you were down underneath, like a freeway, like you could see like roads around you, but it's like under the roads, but there's not, it's like rocks.
Mm.
And it's you and this girl. And but then I couldn't figure out if that maybe is at the beach, but I remember this conversation was happening when I was driving through Paris,
Mm.
driving through the exit to your brother's house too.
Wow.
And do you remember when I told you when I was passing, I said all of a sudden we were driving through this like swarm of like flies all of a sudden?
I don't I don't
And it
remember.
was some girl that came into your life, I think, too, at that time.
Yeah, no, you warned me about this one girl, and like you were right, because you I remember I was mentioning some girl to you, and you were like, all they're showing me is like red, like
Yes, that's and then didn't she come back around again?
well, yeah, she did a lot of times, but um yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. It's like, dude, I don't know. I don't even know what the point of that was. What was the whole point of that? Talking about people from the past. It's like they're just bad.
Oh,
They're just
yeah.
not happy, good places.
Well, no, just because how you said that you won't even mess, like I was gonna ask you about that too. How, like you said, if you see something that's like too dark or something, you're like, forget it. And that's why I was just trying to say, like I don't even want to bring up like because I've seen those kind of dark things with, like, even one. I mean, it was biblical. It was like, because that's when I was more about around religion thing, and I was praying for this girl, because that she had a problem, right? And I was praying for her, and they literally showed me, and it reminded me of this verse from the Bible: when you sweep whatever, and then the demon gets 7 demons stronger, and it comes back to that person. So it's kind of like that. When someone relapses, it's like whatever comes back in, it comes back even stronger. So it was like that. Like we were in her soul, and it looked like that, just how they said in the Bible, was all nice and polished. And there were these 2 demons that were like on some big, like huge, right? But I had this angel like that was just as tall as them, and he came and he chopped them up, right? Like we were fighting for her soul, and I was my regular height. And then all of a sudden, like I was like, yeah, like we did it. And then all of a sudden they came back together, boom, boom, and they chopped up my angel to pieces. And then I just turned and I start running, and the door's over there, and I'm just running. And I woke up and I was staring right at her, and I was like, holy shit. I
Mm-mm,
was like,
mm-mm.
fuck this.
I'm like,
But
girl, you a demon.
yeah. But then after, like, they finally showed me, like, in one dream, it was like a demon came, and that one looked more like us, but it was a demon like in a human body. And I ran inside like the house, and I brought her and I sat her down like on the bed, and I was holding the door back as the demon was pounding, and I'm yelling, and she's just sitting there like a zombie, and I'm like, it's you. So then I woke up and I got it. And after that, I think I started making my eggs. They were showing me that no matter who you try to save, they invite the stuff in. So even that, for whoever is hearing, like, I mean, it's cool. See, that's the hard part. It's like if you're with somebody or family, you want to stay, you want to help them, but as long as they keep inviting the thing in, and these things, the things I've seen, like, oh, like that's why when you said, I don't have you ever, because I wouldn't even want nobody to see all these things. Like it's just crazy. It's crazy.
And I think too, though, the people that are able to allow, like at the end of the day, we're only as strong as the power that we believe we hold.
Yeah.
So if somebody's gonna come over to your house that you're like, man, I don't feel this vibe, like this,
Mm,
I'm not feeling so good. Even if they're in your house and they leave, most people don't know how to clear that space, and they're already like, oh God, oh God. At that point, that energy's there. In the spirit realm, there are two feelings: there is fear and there is love. That's
mm,
it. There's no such thing as anything else. Love and fear.
wow.
So anytime fear creeps in, the energy sees that as like green light, green light, green light. Whereas if you go in and you say, I'm not going to be afraid because I'm a human and they can't hurt me, but also because I'm protected, because I'm protecting my space. It's like the olden days when they wouldn't let the vampires come in. You had to hang like a silver cross over your door or whatever. You had to kill them with a silver bullet. It's the same thing. This is just your way to protect your space. So then the dark energy can't penetrate the little imaginary titanium bubble that you have around you. It literally can't. It can it can throw itself against it as much as it wants, but it's never going to actually reach you because you're surrounded by angels. The dark cannot outshine the light. So, I mean,
and so like that, have you been able to see some of these like dark entities, or oh, real quick, because when you mentioned that earlier, it was funny because how you said that that's your specialty. So it's crazy because I mentioned that in the interview I did like the other day. I told them how, but see, I didn't know if it was something because how my dog had passed. I think I was in the shower and I saw like in my mind's eye, I could see this darkness, and I had never seen a face to it, and it was like trying to creep in, and I felt its energy, but I was like, nope, like you ain't coming in, like, but it felt like that, like it was kind of like it was trying to push again, but I was like, nope, you ain't coming in. I don't know why, like that. See, but now you gave me a whole different perspective to it because I thought it was something trying to take me like that, like trying to creep in.
no.
So no, no, what say? What do you think?
I think a lot of these people, I see some of the dark stuff too. Just because it physically looks dark doesn't mean it's dark. Just
Okay.
because we're afraid of it, because we're interpreting this dark entity as being something evil,
Uh-huh.
because that's what we're programmed to think.
No, no, but this time, I mean, I wasn't afraid of it. But
But you
I
saw
just,
it.
yeah, yeah, I saw it. But go ahead, tell me what.
When I see those in my house.
Oh,
And Jimmy was sitting on the couch one day by himself, and I didn't tell him anything. I was sitting on the couch the day before, and I found out, like, when I first moved into my place, just to kind of give you a quick backstory, I realized that there were people still here, like energy still here.
oh,
So
wow.
I finally, a year and a half later, after when we could start talking to the neighbors, I talked to the guy that lives in the front
Yeah,
because
yeah.
he's been here for 50 years,
Mm.
only place he's ever lived. So he's seen everybody that has lived in my house. He knows the stories for everybody. I told him the man that I kept seeing, and I told him how he died, and I told him like he always blows garlic in my face, and he told me he had a heart attack, and he said, yeah, that's so and so. And
Wow.
I knew the guy's name because I said, if this is who I think it is, like, let me know. And then I get junk mail like with his name. He died in 2004. So things like this were happening. So the more and more I've been open to saying, I don't mind seeing you as long as you don't scare me, but I don't want to see like a person creeping out, like staring at me from behind a fucking corner and shit. I don't want that. But if there's like an orb or like a little, shadow in my corner or something, I'll explore. I'm not going to be afraid because I'm asking for this and I'm being open to that. And I can tell spirit's giving me like those little, I'm taking baby steps
Mm.
because I know that once I get to the point where I'm just not afraid anymore, because again, there's that fear. If you have that fear, you have the ability to, even though you're protected, you still, there's that part of you that's like, oh well, maybe I should dabble in the dark side, that kind of, maybe I could help them. No, you can't. So I think this is a good way to kind of gauge whether something feels good or bad. When Jimmy saw something that I saw this little shadow run from the corner of my room, again, the same place, the same. I'm convinced like this alleyway in this corner, this catty corner in my house must be a portal because this is where we're
Mm.
seeing everything.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
this
yeah.
weird section that's been built out that's secluded by all the other walls.
Wow.
And Winnie always talks about portals, like the closet's a portal and the mirror's a portal, like things that I'm like, dude, how does this kid know this stuff? We
So
don't
she
talk
has
about this.
she
She
inherited.
knows. Yes. Oh, she's been straight up giving me names of people in readings. Like that's a whole nother, like she's like me.
Wow.
Yeah, straight up.
Wow.
And so I'm teaching her not to be afraid.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, I see this little shadow scurry across the floor, and it just looks like a little, if you think of, Charlie Brown, the cartoon Charlie Brown,
Yeah.
Pigpen, there's this little dirt ball that follows him around. Do you
Oh yeah, yeah.
remember? It's like this dust ball, this
Yeah, yeah.
cartoon dust ball. It's like I see like that in my mind's eye or something, but my corner of my eye, I see this little dust ball. The next day or 2 days later, Jimmy's at home and he's like, he goes, what are you doing? And I was out at the studio, and I knew Jimmy doesn't call me unless there's like something's wrong, like that, like the way I could hear his voice. And he said, yeah, I'm sitting in the house. I'm just creeped out. I think I saw something. And I said, did you see a little dark shadow go from catty corner from the bathroom to our room? He goes, yeah. I said, don't worry. I said, I did too. I said, it's nothing. Don't nothing to be afraid of. Because I know there are animals here There's a
Oh,
cat that's here. There's probably a dog, because this place was built in the 40s, you
wow.
know, late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
So imagine the energy that's been there, been in and out of this place. But I I know that even at night, sometimes I'll lay down and I don't like to scan the room if I can't sleep, because that's when you're most open. Even when you're saying you're not, you're just automatically open.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll look around and then I think, are my eyes playing tricks on me, or do I see this dark like cloud above me? But then I'm like, nope, leave me alone. Even if you're good. I mean, it's only good. Nothing's bad in my house, but even if you want my attention and you're giving me these little signals based on what I'm saying, like show yourself to me. I changed my mind. I'm going to do it on my time, and then they go away. The things
Mm.
that still scare me though are when Winnie tells me, Winnie, you know Winnie, she's almost 8 now.
Oh, wow.
When she wakes me, not wakes me up, but she tells me the next day that a little girl's in her room standing next to her, and she can describe her, and she draws a picture of her, and she says her name's Alice. And before Winnie even said anything, I was like, well, what does she say when she wakes you up? And before Winnie even said anything, I heard this little girl say, do you want to play?
Mm.
And when he said, she asked me if I wanted to play, I said, well, what did you tell her? She goes, I told her it was too late and I needed to go to sleep. So I'm training her to understand, like, don't be afraid, that there's just energy in the house.
But I mean, that's amazing to have a parent that could guide you in that way, right? Like,
Instead of thinking you're crazy or this is
exactly.
evil. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
So,
luckily for me, like I just remember I could date the first premonition to like when I was 5, and I just know because we went to see a movie, and I remember on the way there I kept telling them that we had done that already, and while we're sitting in the movie, they were mocking me like, "Oh yeah, what's gonna happen now?" And I remember like feeling confused because I knew that had already happened. I was 100% sure as a kid. I was like, I was just like, oh shoot, like, and they're like making fun of me. My brothers, probably my dad too, because he was like that. But that's the only time. And then after that, I went blank for until I was probably like started songwriting. Then the songs started like coming true, and I'm like, what the hell's going? Oh, has that ever happened to you? Because you're, a songwriter as well. So
I don't have the gift that you have in terms of being able to like premonitions and stuff. I wish I did, but again, I think everybody has their specialty. There have been times though where, not necessarily like, writing a song, but there have been times where I'm like, okay, universe, send me like a really great session. Like
uh,
I said, it's time to
I've
level
never.
up,
Wow, that's awesome. I never
you know?
thought to say that.
And I'm telling you, like, shit happens. Like at this point, like, I'm writing full time. It's amazing. And I'm writing records with purpose. And
Wow.
I'm writing what I want to write, and I'm working with artists I want to work with. And I think it's really just about speaking this shit out loud, because
Mm,
once you say something, you're literally changing the energy around you. You're
yeah.
shifting everything. It's like blowing taking a straw and blowing air into the water. You see it make the little ripples. You're changing the space. You're changing the energy of the direction of that. And I believe it's the same with our thoughts and our words. I think the energy is all these little particles already floating out here, right? And we already know it's going this way. But if we say, I need it to go this way, how is it not possible for us to shift that by our thoughts and our words?
Mm.
Prime example, 2 weeks ago, or no, right, early January, I got a call. Like, I got an email to pitch for some Nickelodeon stuff.
Mm.
So, and it was like January 3rd. I was like, and it wasn't due until the 9th. I was like, this is awesome. You never get this much time.
Mm.
Very custom. And I was like, okay, cool. I already have people. I'm going to call them. One of my guys was stuck. My producer was stuck in Texas.
Mm.
My other guy was in Chicago, and my people that are in St. Louis were available also. So we ended up, it was probably a better fit for me to work with them anyway. So we ended up doing everything. I'm ready to go track vocals, and all of a sudden my computer doesn't have space. I can't even bounce my stems. I can't like put everything in a file to send because I have no space. I've
Yeah.
already cleaned out my computer. I've got like hard drives all over the place. There's
Mm.
literally no room. So I
Wow.
panic. I panic. Jimmy runs into my room, into the room. He's like, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" I'm like, I can't get the stems bounced. I'm never going to get this done in time. And then after I calmed down, I was like, "Fuck it. I'm gonna have to call somebody and be like, listen, I need to come by. I got to track vocals. I got to do this. I'll cut you in, whatever." So I got it all handled in the 11th hour. However, I realized that I didn't need to panic, because it's like when I want something, I just have to speak it into existence and it happens. So at that point, I remember I was in the kitchen with Jimmy and I said, "Man, I just need to manifest money for a computer." Because that day Jimmy was like, "I already looked at Best Buy, they have them. Let's just go get one. You have to finish the job. You can't
Yeah.
not deliver." I was like, "Nope, I'm not going to go spend money I don't have on a computer when I'm just stubborn. I'm like, I'm going to figure this shit out. I'm going to figure it out."
Yeah.
And then I said, "Universe, I need you to throw some money my way. I need to manifest money to buy this new laptop, because I knew the laptop was not going to be cheap. I had to buy like a big one with a lot of space." So I shit you not, I checked my bank account every now and then. I'm like, let's see if you have any money. Let's see if some magical deposits showed up. I open up my bank account and there is a little over $2,000 from like the last run of like a Fancy Feast cat commercial that I did.
Oh, wow.
So a song. It literally was $100 more than what the laptop was.
Oh,
And
wow.
I was literally able to go, and to top it off, Best Buy was having a weekend sale, and they happened to be that day saving. That was the last day. It was $400 off. So I got my laptop. I get everything I needed. I got the project delivered, and it's like bingo, done. But again, people don't realize that they can control the things that they want and make things happen if they just believe it.
See, and that happens to me a lot. So, do you feel, and I think I've asked someone else probably this question before, do you feel you manifested it, or do you feel it was already written? Because sometimes it's too perfect. It's like too damn perfect. For me, see, because that'll happen. It's like, damn, I need this. And then all of a sudden, the same, like some weird thing. And I'm like, dude, are you serious? Like, I'm like, just thank you. I'm definitely like, oh, thank you. Like, but I'm like, this shit is crazy. You know what I mean? So
You
how
know
do
what?
you feel?
I think once it starts happening, once you realize, okay, this is what I asked for, and you trust that's what it is, instead of trying to justify it by a million other things that could be debunk what you think,
Mm.
you're never going to believe it. You're never truly going to be 100% in. You're still going to be fucking riding the fence, because you're like, no. I mean, listen to this. I just had this conversation with somebody this morning. I got this random check in the mail 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago, for like some random amount, $236. It was from Wells Fargo for an overpayment of a car payment or something. And I'm like, dude, I never had Wells Fargo. I don't know. I thought it was fraud.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
called Wells Fargo and they said, no, this is from this car. It was from 2000. And instantly I was like, holy shit. I knew the person that I was with at that time. And I said, I wonder if this is a sign. And I needed money at the time. I said, Spirit, throw me some money, because I'm trying to, like, I need to pay something or something like that. Then I get this random check in the mail. I hold on to it for 3 days and then call the bank. They tell me, no, this is a real check. This is from 2000. This is from like 22 years ago.
Yeah.
Or 21 years ago at that point. And no, this is real. You can deposit it. I found out that the person on the other, the person that I was with, it was an ex-boyfriend at the time when I had that car. He had just died of colon cancer.
Oh.
And I always, even in his death, I was just like, man, fuck you. Like, fuck you, you piece of shit. Like, you're just not a good person, you know? And I'm like, you can't be mad at somebody that's dead, because on the other side, they only know love and light.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know this was his way to come back and tell me he was sorry. And then he showed up through a girl that I didn't even know was a medium with another message to say, I'm sorry. And I wouldn't even let her give me the rest of the message. I said, you know what? That's all I needed. Because I said to him not long before that, after I got the check, or right, yeah, after I got the check, I said, dude, all I wanted was an I'm sorry, like, was an apology. So thank you. Like, this is even better. You send me a check? Okay, dude, I'll take it. But then he actually had an apology through somebody that did not know anything about me. So again, I think we can change what we want. I think, yeah, maybe, yeah, 100%. The book of life is already written. but we also have the ability to change what has been written if we feel like it will fulfill our soul's purpose. I believe that's free will. I believe that, yeah, it's already written, and yeah, unfortunately some people have a fucking shitty book, a lot of shitty chapters, but if they truly have something different about them, I'm not saying everybody is stuck with these lives, because we're not, but some people have the ability to get out, if that makes sense, where some people just, they just know a certain way, and they aren't able to think outside of what they've been programmed to believe. And that's something that I think is inherent. I don't think that's something we can teach.
Yeah, no. See, the thing to me is like, I'll believe anything. It doesn't really matter like what the, because like I don't get up in my head about it. I just see, like, I don't know, like me being a Gemini, right? Like, it's not that I dwell on stuff. That's just how my brain works. So sometimes I would even wonder that, is it like, nah, well, I don't think that. But it's like, see, even like right now, see, as I'm
But
talking,
I
I'm
think that's you second guessing yourself. Once you get to
no,
the point where you don't second guess
no,
anymore.
no. It's not second guessing. It's just like, it's almost like being prepared. It's like being prepared for anything. And so, no, I'm still gonna move forward. I'm just prepared. Like, if today, it's kind of like, oh, the acting thing has been crazy because like so many things. That's why even where I was like, dude, this shit's already like, it's like on the whole pandemic thing, right? I was in a show where there was a pandemic, everything's locked down, da 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 da, and then it happens in real life. So there's been so many things that were happening with the acting that were happening in real life, right? They were like parallel, right? So I was like,
Right.
dude, like once I stopped by, my dad had something that happened. I had stopped to visit him at the hospital. He was in a gown. And then I went to set. I didn't even know what they were gonna do. And they're like, oh, here. They gave me a hospital gown to put on. I was like,
That's your dad, dude.
no, 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 no. He was no, he didn't pass or nothing. He was still alive. But I'm just saying, like,
No, but even though he's not gone, that's your dad's energy connecting with you, though. You were clearly like thinking about him or worried or something.
no, I stopped by to see him on my way to set. So before
Oh,
I
I
went to
see.
set, I stopped to see him. I was like whatever, he was in his hospital gown, and then I went to set, and then I didn't know what they were gonna do with me. I was just
But that's not
working.
synchronicity, man. That's
No, no, that's what I'm
crazy.
saying. But see,
Yeah.
it like I know, but to me, it's just I get synchronicity every single day. Not only every single, sometimes like hourly, minute, like it's so much that's what I'm saying. But I don't dwell on it. Like just by me talking about it doesn't mean I'm dwelling on it. Like I just analyze it because naturally my brain's already like it feels like a damn computer sometimes. Like I've learned to,
Yes.
I just see everything. Like there's really, that's why it sucks. Cause even when people talk to me, even if I'm not listening, I think I am listening. Cause I remember shit. That's why, see, like people really can't, not only cause I have the gift, but it's hard to lie to me because I'll probably remember like you said some shit and
Oh,
then I'm
dude,
like,
yeah.
it's inconsistent. Like,
But you also know in your gut, dude, if somebody's full of shit.
oh
Like
yeah, yeah,
that's the
yeah,
thing. It's like, yeah, but yeah, dude, yeah,
yeah.
it's. I think yours is more. You just have more of an analytical brain, where I'm kind of like, I'm just gonna go with the flow, and I'm not gonna really worry because I can't control what I can't control anyway. So why am I? What am I preparing for? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that's the whole point I was trying to make, but because shit, I forgot what I was gonna say, but it was something along the lines of that. Because I don't ever like to like, I don't want people to feel, oh yeah, because it was just, see, we kind of share different perspectives. Like how I said, sometimes I feel like everything's already written. How you're saying we have a choice, and I do want people to believe that we do have a choice. At that, even if I'm right with I wouldn't want people to think that. That's why
Yeah.
I sometimes like shit. I speak before I even think about it, but it's like I wouldn't want people to feel that we don't have a choice. I feel like the world could be, even if life is hard, like even when life is hard, like I'm still gonna move forward. Like that's the
Mhm.
thing, is that I don't want people to give up hope. Like, oh well, it's already written, then I'm screwed. I would want people to keep pushing for something positive, right? That was my whole point.
Yeah,
So
and I think again, if people can, or if anybody is in a situation that doesn't make them happy and they have the ability to envision where they see themselves, because I'm a big believer of, if you can see it, it's
mm,
already yours. It just
yeah, yeah,
hasn't happened yet. because everything I envision, when I say I don't have premonitions like you do, but I see things and then they do happen. So I guess mine's a different version of yours, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that when people see something so clearly in their mind of what they want, it's because that's that's the path that they're choosing. Maybe that's not the situation that they're in, but if they see it, I believe that that's them changing their path.
Mm,
Just like me, I never thought I always wanted to do music. I knew as a little kid, I was like, dude, I don't even want to go to college because I'm going to be a rock star. But
mm,
my dad was like, you got to go to school because music isn't going to last forever. And, all the same shit that parents tell you.
mm,
And then, I remember, just always feeling different. And now I know why. It's like, because my job wasn't to go be some, lawyer or some doctor. It was to be a healer
mm,
and in my own sense, in my own way. And so when people come to me and I have a lot of people that are like, I just feel like I'm serving this is my karmic debt
mm.
and all this shit's happening to me and I'm never going to find this and I'm always going to meet these people. And it's like, the more you talk about all of this negative shit that you're dealing with, you're just floating in shit. You are never going to separate yourself from any of that if that's all you think you deserve.
Mm.
And people don't realize, again, when you say things that are negative, um that's, even if you don't mean that or you don't want it, that's what I'm saying. It's like, some people are programmed to be a certain way, right? But you and I are different in the sense that we can think with the logical side and say, okay, man, I'm like, you want to be prepared. And I'm like, I'm always going to be prepared. I just don't, I'm more focused on, okay, like, I'm like the person that's in the middle of a conversation. I'm like, oh, a butterfly,
Ha!
you
No,
know?
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. Yeah.
It's just we just have two different styles of how we work. We're both light workers. You just have a different style than me.
Mm,
But we both know that we have power. And I think our job at the end of the day is for people that think that this is the life that they have, that they're stuck with. That is not true.
yeah.
But if they don't believe that they are going to be out of whatever they're in, again, that's just the negative thoughts. It's no different than The Secret and the fucking boomerang. And it's like, you throw that shit out there, how's the law of attraction going to bring you greatness?
Mm,
If you think that you deserve to be in a situation where, well, this is my life, I guess I'm just going to be a loser, I guess I'm going to just attract bad, men and women into my life, and I'm never going to have a loving relationship because my parents didn't, and this is just how it is.
mm.
Like, that's how it's going to be for those people, unfortunately, because if they can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, then there's just, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but we can't save everyone.
Yeah. No, yeah. Absolutely. Speaking of that, like how when you said earlier, because yeah, like you got me kind of thinking like differently now about that. So like to help people that like to help people that are in dark situations. Okay, so when you see them like that, like let's say when they're coming to you for help and they died in a bad way or whatever, like what is it, they're stuck and they're looking for your help, and you see them like they, to most people it would probably freak them out because they look like this darkness, but it's just because of the circumstance in which they passed. So you acknowledge that, and then how do you help them then? How, what are some ways that you've been able to help them when they come to you like that?
I think a lot of the times when they come to me, it's, I already know that it's, they're not dark. Their energy is not dark. Maybe the way they left the earth might be dark.
Mm,
But for the most part, I can't even, people that aren't in the good place or
mm.
heaven or whatever you want to call it can't even get to me. Like, they
Oh
can't
wow.
even access me. Like, I can't talk to murderers. I can't talk to rapists. I can't talk to Jeffrey Dahmer. I can't talk to any of those people. They can't access me.
Because just naturally, or you chose that?
I'm sure they probably could if I wanted to go dark,
Mm,
if I wanted to tap into some dark shit, I'm sure. Because if I can talk to the light, why couldn't I talk to the dark?
yeah, yeah.
But to me, that's a doctor takes an oath. A police officer takes an oath to protect and serve. It's like a doctor takes an oath to do no harm. I take an oath to to stay protected and to protect my people and only work with the light.
Mm.
Like I'm not here to do work for the other side. You know, I'm sure they could come knocking anytime. And they have. When I get these calls about these haunted, spooky, creepy places that I know, I try to say, maybe it's just a stuck spirit. I'm like, no bullshit, Shannon. You know exactly what this shit is, and it's not fun. Like,
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
even entertain it because it's fun to entertain because it's like, man,
Oh.
it's fucking cool. Because I do ghost bust, I do paranormal research, I do investigate. But again, those are never dark spirits.
Mm.
I have never, even if I go, let's say I go somewhere where there's like a murder, the person that actually committed the murder is not going to be who's going to come to me. It's going to be the people that lost their lives. I can't talk to those other people, but the people that come to me are going to be able to give me details about the person that took their life.
Mm.
And like a hotel, you go stay in like the Cecil Hotel downtown or something, you
Oh,
know?
have you done it? Because I
I
wanted to.
haven't. The only reason I haven't is because I've talked to legit people who are like, you're not going to get anything. It's a bunch of fucking weird people. The
Oh.
energy is just off, but there's so many drugs and like just darkness in and out. It's not what we would go there looking for.
Mm.
It would just be that uneasy energy. It wouldn't be anything exciting.
Mm.
Whereas I'm doing the whole paranormal and the Weedium stuff because what if I go and I'm talking, for instance, somebody's working on a case, right? A cold case.
Mm.
They call me in, they're like, hey, here, no information. What do you feel? Then not only do I have the opportunity to talk to the family, but that could give me insight to the case. So
Mm.
it's like I'm talking to the ghosts on the other side. There's the paranormal aspect, but then you're also talking to the family, which is comforting because you're actually giving them closure that, yeah, maybe this has been a horrible death, or, you know, maybe it was tragic, but when they come to me, they're not ever stuck. They're never
No.
stuck. When they come to me, they're on the other side. But a lot of times they need their family members to know they're not stuck, because sometimes their family members are like, I keep seeing my son at the end of my bed and he doesn't say anything and he looks so mad at me. And I'm like, he's not mad at you. That's the guilt that you're holding on to, and he's sticking around because you can't let him go.
Wow.
He's there. He's hanging around. This is your anger and your sadness. And he's trying to let you know, I'm okay. But these people are so, they're in such a heavy grieving state. It's hard to see anything but reflection of what they feel inside. And that's
Yeah.
sometimes how people will come through, especially a lot of older people too. They'll say, my husband or my wife visited me and they're coming up from under the bed and they look like they've been soaking wet from the water and it scares me, and they have a dead look on their face, you know, things like that. And then I start thinking, are they interpreting it wrong? Because I hear that from a lot of different people, but as you get older, you know, a lot of times elderly people, their vision's bad, their hearing's bad, and what they perceive to be as darkness is fear because they don't know what it is. They just
Yeah.
know there's something there, but because they don't know who it is, they think it's this person. Like my grandma says, grandpa looked so mad at me and he doesn't say anything, and I don't know what he wants. And I have to explain to her, it's either not him that you're seeing or he's just trying to let you know that he's okay and you're
Mm.
just interpreting it wrong. So it's really, it's a tough spot to be in because, you know, I always worry too, what if I'm wrong? But I've never
Mm.
been wrong. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, but no, I know 100% what you're talking. Because even when I dream stuff and I want, like I know I'm right, but then why? It's just that thing. Like I don't know. You even feel guilty about feeling like I know I'm right, but you know what I mean? Because then it's like, oh, that's my ego thinking like I'm right, but obviously anything's possible. You could be wrong, but
Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm never, and when I say it too, that I'm always right, it's more too that I say it like, not I'm right, like, oh my God, I'm right. My ego, it's more like, I'm right. I need you to trust me. And it may not be right this second, but it will happen.
oh
Because
yeah, yeah.
I need those people to understand too that I really am talking to their loved ones.
Mm.
I really am giving them very specific information, down to the type of car, down to the type of outfit they were dressed in when they were laid to rest. How would I know this?
Yeah, yeah.
Other than I'm just open, you know?
No, that's why I wanted
It's
you to.
wild.
No, huh?
It's
Oh, it's
just,
wild.
it still
Yeah,
blows my mind. Like I will never, like I still get shook at, like it's never ever going to be normal. It will never ever, it will be like the first time every time.
yeah. Oh, wow. What's one of the, like, because I don't know how, if it's too personal, like about someone else, then you don't have to say it. But like, I remember you even told me about, so yeah, you don't have to talk about it.
No, I'll talk about
Oh,
whatever.
okay. No, because I remember you even told me there was this like guy that ended up being a cop and he was coming through and he wanted you to contact his wife. And when you did, yeah, I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
share.
you remember that.
I remember I told you, I remember stuff. Like,
That
it's
one was
dark.
intense.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
one was intense. So every night before I would go to bed, for whatever psycho reason in my brain, I would scroll through the news. And I always had like CNN was an app, and I would always look at CNN. And I remember one night I was scrolling through the stories, and I didn't even read the headline. I didn't even read the article. I just saw this picture of this man. It was a police officer, and he was a commander. So he had on like the hat, the real pretty white police hat, and he rode he was a commander. He was on the horses. He was a police officer on the horses. I remember that because I saw a picture. And all of a sudden I see this picture of him, like a uniformed picture, like the standard pictures that are in their police pictures and hanging up in the office. And he looked at me, he said, "Tell my wife I'm okay." And I remember thinking, oh, this is fucking crazy. This is wild. This is weird. I got a picture of a dude in an app, like on CNN, looking at me, telling me to tell his wife is okay. And then I have a conversation with him, like, that's okay too, And I'm like, okay, man, I don't even know if you have a wife. And all I knew is the headline said, "Off-duty officer killed in the line of fire."
Oh,
like,
wow.
Something like that. Like, he was having lunch. I didn't even read all the details until after the fact, but apparently just what it said, the pictures that it showed was like, I guess he was having lunch, and he heard a call come in of somebody with a gun or something, and he chased the guy, the suspect, and took him down and was killed in the line of fire. So didn't know anything about him. All I know is after he said that, I had a long conversation with him. I would go to my bathroom and I would just hotbox the bathroom because in our other place, we didn't have like a patio we could just go puff out on. So I would sit in there and I would have these conversations with him. And we talked about life and how he told me he was never supposed to be a cop. Like things that are so, I'm having a conversation with a man that's not even physically here anymore, but he's giving me all of this information, talking about his wife that I didn't even know existed, and about the red sweater, and about a girl named Katie, and like all of this information. So I said, okay, if this is really you, his name was Commander Paul Bauer. He was in Chicago. Oh my God. The anniversary is today. Oh,
no way.
Dude.
That'd be funny.
Oh my God. Hang on. Let me look. Oh my God, dude. It's sometime around, I remember it was near Valentine's Day because I was in this. Oh my God, hang on. Fucking A, February 13th, 2018.
Wow.
Oh, I love you, Paul.
Hey, but I heard him then because he told me to bring it up then.
Okay, there you go. Okay, so listen. Oh my God, I always think about him.
That's
so
crazy.
This is what's crazy. This is, how we always want validation, right?
Yeah,
to make sure that we're not nuts.
Yeah.
So I was talking to him and I said, Paul, if this is really you, everybody was already asleep when he was a baby. 2018, when he wasn't even 3 years old yet. So I said, Paul, if this is really you, I said, bring your wife to me. You have to help me find her, make it super easy, bring her to me if she's real. And she has to be open. So I know that if this is meant to be, you'll bring her to me. And I remember getting in the shower the next morning and talking to him again. And I said, give me a sign. How am I going to know if it's you? And all of a sudden, he said, Monopoly guy. And I'm like, Monopoly guy? That's the weirdest thing ever. But I knew it was the Monopoly man, the guy with the hat and the, Dude, that's so crazy. Today's his anniversary, 18, 19, 20, 21, fucking 5 years.
Wow.
Commander Paul Bauer. So listen to this shit. Okay. So, oh my God. Oh, that's so crazy. You brought him up. Holy shit.
No, but see, I'm learning to, because even the interview I just uploaded yesterday, as we were nearing the end of it, I heard this song in my head. And so I told her that I was like, oh, I'm hearing like this song. I was like, oh, sorry, I'm laughing because I'm hearing this song. And she was like, dude, that's my song. And I was like, shut that. So it was crazy.
See?
I'm barely starting to embrace things more for some reason. I feel like now I'm becoming ready to to like if you ever teach a class, I'll be the first one to take it.
Dude, I'm serious. I've had people ask me if they're like, "Do you have a curriculum?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're." It's just wild. I'm trying to find a charger. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, because it
Like,
was crazy. See, like with you, I only had one dream one time, and it was like I dreamed that I was letting you guys have like this dryer, and I asked, I think I don't
you
know if
told me. You called me.
yeah, and I asked you because, and then once, see, for me that was my confirmation. I was like, oh, because I was like, why would they need a freaking dryer? And then once you once you told me that you had moved to a new place, I was like, ah, so it made sense to me. No, because we had a new dryer from my brother when he passed. So I was like, oh
Oh
shit,
shit.
maybe he wanted me to let you have this brand new dryer.
Damn, and you know what? Our
But you didn't
dryer
say nothing.
died and we
Huh?
needed a new dryer. Our dryer died.
Shut the hell up.
Yes, dude. And
And
now,
it,
can I tell you this now? My
did you
fucking
remember?
dryer's messed up right now. It's been making this like since last night it's going
Dude.
and now
Oh,
we're
you
talking
see,
about the dryer.
and look how long ago was that? So see, talk about a premonition. Like how long ago? But you see, yeah, you never. I think we finally got rid of it because you never told me
Because we
nothing.
need, yeah, because we didn't have a place to put it.
Wow,
We didn't
talk
have anywhere
about
to put it.
yeah, that's confirmation. I'll leave that part in.
Dude, that's crazy. Dude, and last night I told Jimmy, I was like, we got to get another dryer, man.
Wow, you see,
Literally yesterday.
so you see that's a premonition from like how like that was like before the
Years
pandemic.
ago, yes.
Years
Like
ago.
that's like 3 years ago,
And I was like,
4 years ago, something like that.
I had a dream that you guys needed a dryer. Or I gave you
Dude,
guys a dryer.
you did, yeah. And I was like, we don't need one because we don't have anywhere to put it right now. But now it's like, dude, maybe you knew that your premonition was too early.
Way too
See what I
early.
mean? It's like
But
that's
see,
what I'm saying. People have to wait for shit to line up. Sometimes it's not universe. It's like it's not lined up on Earth. If it has to be like it has to be lined up on Earth and in the Nether or wherever else. You know what I mean?
wow, no, but that just shows that like, see what we were talking about. It's not an ego thing. It's just like I know I'm right.
Yes.
Sometimes it's years early. Like
You just got to figure out how to put the messages together. You know?
yeah. But sometimes it's just saying it. So when it happens, then you could be like, you see, and even like, see, it's messed up because even the whole pandemic thing. I had wrote a song.
Yeah.
I had wrote a song about it like 10 years before it happened, and then when it happened, I just remember in the dream it was like the streets were all empty. There was like a doomsday clock, all this crazy stuff. It's called Last Days too, the song, and there was a curfew, all this stuff. I say that in the song, and however I rapped it that I could, but I remember, when the pandemic started, I was one of those that didn't listen because I would go be in nature because I was like, dude, who's gonna infect me in nature? And I would be the only one there, right? I'll be the only one there. They would block it off like you can't go here right now. The park is closed, or I was like, dude, you're not
they
gonna
had
close.
everything shut down.
Yeah, but I was like, dude, you're not gonna close the forest. You could kiss my ass.
I know, right? It's like with the freaking nature.
Yeah, I was like, you're not gonna close the forest.
Nature doesn't have a close sign.
Huh?
I said nature does not have a closed sign.
Exactly. So I remember, but I was driving through the streets, and I remember I was like, oh wow, this is what I dreamed from that song. Like it was 10 years too early. Like holy crap.
That's what I'm saying, dude. Like
yeah.
It's like you don't know the timing, but I've learned you can't discount that stuff though. Just like, you know what I'll never forget? You always talked about the fucking earthquake and how we have to go to Texas. And it's just like, man.
Wow. Shit, I just dreamed something recently. Dad, I didn't want to say it.
If it's not Texas anymore, dude, you better tell me where the fuck I'm supposed to go.
No, I don't even know. I said Texas because that's what my friend, she thought it was Texas. But I just knew that at one point I had to leave California. But this happened the other day, and I wrote it down. I had a dream that I was fleeing, and I had 2 kids with me. So I was like, I think they must be my nephews or something.
Yeah.
But I was going towards and I was like, ah, shit. So all I'm going to do is I'm probably going to order one of those bags, like those military bags. You know what I mean? Like
they're
get up and go back. Well, yeah, bug out bags. Yeah, exactly. So that's all I'm going to do. Other than that, I mean.
I know. My mom brought it up too. You and my mom, now 2 people. Now my mom's like, you really need to get one. We're going to build them whenever I get here. And then she's the same one that gave me all this stuff in October of 2019. She's like, you need to supply yourself. You need to stock up on water, medicine, everything. She goes, paper. She goes, I'm telling you right now. And I was like, Mom, you're crazy. Because she's a doomsday prepper. She's ex-military. I was like,
Oh,
you're
wow.
fucking out of your mind. Guess who the first person I'm calling when I'm like, Mom, I need some toilet paper, I need some Clorox wipes, I need some toothpaste. She sends me like a box because she has the whole bottom of her house. It looks like a freaking store.
Wow.
She's got a pharmacy, like CVS in the corner over here. We got like all of the grains. I mean, it looks like a country store.
Wow.
In like Oregon Trail or some video game we played when we were growing up. You know, it's like, but people like that.
But she's
I'm not saying
wearing.
my mom, she doesn't have a gift like this, but she, not like you and I, but I think there's a part of her, she has intuition because when she said that stuff, and maybe it's like a mom thing, but dude, she's been right.
Yeah.
She's been right. She's telling me I need to be buying like, she's been telling me for a while now, I need to buy like radiation tablets and shit. And I'm like, okay, now she tells me I need to buy guns. And I'm like, okay, now we're just getting crazy.
See, but that's kind of what in the dream, because then within like, oh, and it was very like, ah, shit, I don't even want to say this, but
What?
should I say it?
Huh?
Did I say it or no?
No, say it. What did you say?
Well,
Say
in
it.
the dream also, it was, I just remember, and it was like a girl I never met in person. It was a girl I never met in person, but I knew in the dream that she was a Pisces. And I know Pisces is like March and stuff. So I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, man, some shit better not happen in March because I'm just not ready to like. But then it was funny because my friends all into the whole China thing right now. And they sent me something that it happened to be in March. Oh, as in March or something, China's like, I don't know what they did or they passed some kind of law to like I don't know if it was like to militarize their whole freaking country or some weird stuff like that. So I was like, maybe that's why. Maybe
That's probably what it is. I think you see, this is the thing that I feel comfort knowing what you see. Okay. A lot of the stuff, first of all, we're on US soil. It's going to be very hard for like we have military weapons or systems designed to detect incoming missiles
yeah,
within,
yeah, 100%.
my
I've
dad
seen them, so
designed
I
that
know.
shit. Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad's a fucking engineer. He works for Northrop Grumman. This is the stuff I know. He builds this shit.
Yeah, yeah.
So I know I have a level of confidence that as a country we're okay. It's the
Yeah.
natural disasters
Yeah.
that I'm worried about, and the things that I see, like where I've had people that say, something bad's about to happen in the world on this date, blah blah. Fucking Ukraine fucking was bombed. I mean, I believe it, but I feel your premonitions are more global than more, and yours tend to be like, I feel like a lot of natural disaster shit or fucking like world disaster shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No.
And I
So
think because you're so connected to nature.
that makes
It's almost
sense.
like you're like a fucking animal that just knows when it's gonna rain and when the fucking clouds are gonna move and the ocean's gonna rise. And
Yeah,
it's,
yeah.
you have that connection that some people don't have.
No, and
A
it's
lot of people
crazy.
don't.
No, and it's crazy because last year I did have a dream that like some like natural disaster thing had happened. Wow, shit, I just thought about it. Wow. Because it had to do with rain.
Everything
Like
you've ever told me is all natural disaster shit.
no, it's crazy because I remember like everything, the roof, like everything was messed up, and there were insects there. Because insects, if you pay attention, they're always the first ones that tell you that something's coming. You'll see a trail of gas, and you're like, "What the hell?" All of a sudden, they're probably already feeling the vibrations, like an earthquake's coming, and they'll start like gathering food or whatever. So in the dream, there were ants and everything all over, and it was like water had came in, and then look at all the rain that we had up Northern California, and this was from like months ago or last year. And then I was like, but see, and I remember in the dream, I regretted that I didn't have my bug out bag, but I was okay. I remember I was okay, but in the dream, I was like, fuck, I should have had my damn.
That right there is again saying, okay, this was just a reminder, be ready. So this is also a reminder for me because it just came up again with my mom a week ago that I need to be prepared. So when you talk about being prepared, this is the kind of shit, yes, 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
This is like, I need you to like get me prepared because I'm like, we gonna be good. And I'm like, no, dude, where's my bug out bag? I fucking should have listened to O.
At least I mean, I should have listened to whoever is telling me, like, so I'm at least gonna do that. Have a bug out bag, like, because I'm not scared because whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. Like even that, if they were to show me like, yo, this is your day, like that's it. this is as far as you get. I'll be like, all right, cool, you know. So I'm not scared of that, like in that way. But yeah, they're just showing me like just be prepared. So I guess,
Yeah.
you know, I mean,
I
it's
mean, the
not.
news is telling us too. So if you're getting like a double validation, then what? Like, dude, I'm gonna trust that shit. I'm not gonna question you. I'm gonna be like, okay. And look at the earthquakes. Look at the earthquakes. I was woken up when that. Did you feel the one that we had like what, a week or two ago or whatever?
Oh, I didn't even feel it. Or
I remember waking up right before it happened. I went to the bathroom and I got back in bed and I looked at the clock just to see what time it was, and it was, or no, I got in bed and all of a sudden everything starts shaking, but it was quick.
mm,
And I remember thinking, "Oh, that was an earthquake." And I don't know if I said it out loud, but I didn't know if I didn't want to wake Jimmy up. I thought he
mm,
was asleep. And then I looked at the clock and it said 2 a.m. And I remember thinking, I got to check in the morning and see if there was an earthquake reported.
wow.
And sure enough, 2 a.m., it was like a 4 point something or something like that. And I felt it. But I also, that whole week, I kept waking up and I had like real bad anxiety.
Oh wow.
And I was waking up around the same time. And I was like, Spirit, I don't want to do this week. I'm busy. I'm in sessions. I'm tired. I need like a break, you
Mm,
know? And then we had an earthquake. So it's just like, I think a lot of times too, there are things that I see kind of like you, but I don't know their premonitions. I don't know if they're just thoughts and it's just like thoughts that I'm having. Like for instance, I remember uh July will be 2 years. Jimmy was leaving for work and all of a sudden I was just like, oh God, keep everybody safe today on the road. Like protect everybody. I feel like there's something's gonna like I don't know. I just felt like I don't know, but I wasn't really like I said it, but I said, but no, protect my family, protect everybody that I know, keep everybody safe. And then Jimmy texted me at like I'm sitting outside. I dropped Winnie off. I got back home. It was like 9 o'clock. He called me. He was like, "Hey, I'm just sitting outside Caitlin, his boss's apartment, because they were heading to a meeting. He went to pick her up, and he's parked on fucking like Wilshire or something. I don't
mm.
even know. And all of a sudden, he's on the phone with his boss or one of his salesmen, and he sees a car coming around the corner really fast. He's like, "Oh my God, Rich, this guy's gonna hit me. This guy's gonna hit me."
As you
Bam.
were on the phone?
He was on the phone with Rich when this
Oh,
was happening. He had
oh,
just gotten off the phone with me. I
yeah,
just
yeah,
talked
yeah.
to him and was like, "Hey," he's like, "I'm just waiting for Caitlin. I'll call you back." I was like, "Okay." He goes, "Rich is calling me. I'll call you back." And then when that happened, he calls me right back, and I'm like, "Well, that was fast." He goes, and it literally, I look at the timestamp. It was like 5 minutes,
Wow.
and he had been hit. He was going to park at the very end. There were 4 cars. He was going to park at the very end, like around this corner.
Mm,
And this corner, I can't even remember where it is. It's like super fucking dangerous. It's like third and like Wilshire or something weird.
mm.
And so somebody came around the corner, brand new $150,000 like Audi fucking like SUV, plows into 4 cars. Jimmy almost parked in the back
Wow.
spot. He took the first spot. It plowed in total 3 cars behind him, pushed our car through the intersection. Thank God nobody was crossing the street at the crosswalk.
Wow.
And completely totaled. Completely totaled. Jimmy's was in like we had to get a lawyer. Like it's just it was horrible.
Wow.
But that same morning, I was just like, I fucking had this weird, not even a weird feeling, but why would I think to say protect everybody from any car accidents? But
Mm,
see, I don't know how to know if that's for me or somebody else because then you start panicking on shit. And then again, that's inviting the negative. Where instantly, when I feel that way, I say, not going to happen today, not happening to anybody I know, not happening to anybody that it's just not going to happen. So
yeah.
I feel like if I don't say it, so since that day, every day, I feel like if I don't want to tell myself if I don't say this, something bad's going to happen because that's just getting psychotic. But now I tell Jimmy, I say, come home safe
Mm.
every day. Come home safe. I used to say drive safe. Now I'm like, come home safe.
Oh,
Fucking come home. Come home safe.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but
Man, that's crazy.
but shit like that. So I think again, it doesn't matter how experienced people are, how inexperienced. There are people that think they don't even know they have this kind of gift, but they're having these same kind of thoughts like we have.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they're instead of thinking maybe this is a sign or something I should take as maybe a message, if they don't know to think that, they're just going to be like, oh my God, I have anxiety. I have this fear of the unknown. I have this apprehension of shit that I think is going to happen, and it's not even real life. Like,
Mm.
how do you differentiate? It's It's hard.
No, and even that, no, thank you, because before we started recording, how you helped remind me about like even that, right? Like when you feel physical pains and to know when it's someone else's pain and it's not yours. You know what I mean? And like
That's
I
hard.
experience that a lot. Like I experience that a lot. Even that anxiety. See, that's when I had, because I forget. It's because there's so many. When when you're going through, you're trying to discover it. And I remember it hit me when I first started having anxiety, and that's when the pandemic. And I had never had anxiety, and then I think it was amplified by if everyone else was having anxiety, I probably felt that. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Big time,
Up
man.
everybody else's emotion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Because you don't realize it. You're just open.
Yeah. So what do you do to, oh, no, no. Well, say what you said, like about how do you work through that? Like when you feel other people's thing.
A lot of times I also like I smoke so much weed. Like I have to ask myself first. Like for instance, okay, I take a big bong rip, right? Or smoke a big fat jeter. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm having like my arm, I can't feel my legs. I get up to walk and all of a sudden I can't feel my fucking legs. And I'm like, and then I start thinking, Jesus, I have osteoporosis. Do I have polio? Like, what's happening? Am I getting multiple sclerosis? Something's going on. I'm like, oh shit. And then I have to like ask myself, one of my girlfriends said, you need to ask yourself, did you have this pain before you got high? Or
Mm.
did it hit you after you got high? Because once I say, okay, spirit, I'm open, and I'm like, I mean, I smoke weed all the time anyway. Let's just be real.
But
But
did you start smoking to because of the gifts? Like was that, or you were
no,
already just,
I've always
oh,
like for the last 13 years I started puffing because I got off all the hard shit. I was on like
oh,
pills and like stupid shit.
yeah, yeah.
And I was just like, dude, I don't want to do this anymore. And then I realized once I didn't need all that. I was trying to hide from the voices in my head. I was trying to escape the images that I was seeing. When in reality, like you can't hide from that shit.
Mm,
No pill is going to make that stuff go away. It's just going to make you like turn into a zombie
mm,
and suppress all that shit until you become a shell of nothing
yeah,
because
yeah.
you can't truly be your authentic self.
Mm.
And so I learned that when I start to get these feelings and these pains, I'm like, was I feeling this before I got baked, or is this after I got baked and decided I'm going to go into spirit and be like, okay, you give me everything. I'm ready. Give me everything so I can go into this reading prepared. And then every single time, it's after I have said, give me everything. That's when I experience the physical pain. Or
Wow.
if I know I'm going into a reading, like let's say, because I book all my readings in advance, let's say I know that I'm going into a reading and all of a sudden I start realizing, God, I can't breathe. I'm having a hard time like swallowing. Like something's wrong. I tell Jimmy, I'm like, I'm having these weird feelings, but I guarantee they're for my reading. They're for my client, and they
Mm,
always are. One of them,
wow.
I couldn't breathe. I couldn't swallow. The mother was stabbed and murdered. Her neck was like sliced.
No way.
Yeah, and as she was putting gas in her car, like
Wow.
shit like this, like really dark shit. So it. I couldn't feel that pain, but I couldn't swallow and it was hard to breathe. I
Mm,
literally, it's on video. I couldn't breathe. And then as soon as I said something with my neck, I can't swallow, I can't breathe, the girl just lost it.
mm.
Another time, do you remember this at my house when we were standing in my kitchen and all of a sudden my ears started ringing so bad and it was hurting and my head started pounding and I said,
Yeah,
who
yeah,
got murdered?
yeah, yeah.
And you were like, I don't know anybody, nobody in my family. And then you put two and two together. I said, no, this is a guy and he got shot in the head. And you found out it was some girl that you knew. It was her brother. Remember
Yeah,
that?
yeah. Yeah, it gave me chills. Yeah, no, yeah, I remember I text her. Well, yeah, because I think he wanted
I
her
felt
to,
that pain.
yeah. Oh, you felt the pain?
I felt the pain, but it's because he had to give me that pain. So I knew to tell you somebody got shot because it was ringing in my left ear.
Mm,
So you would be able to put two and two together and know it was her sister because he had a message for her to say, don't worry, I'm okay. I didn't suffer. I wasn't
mm,
in any pain. And it's okay. I'm not, I wasn't alone.
mm.
But had he not given me that pain, I wouldn't have associated it with instant like this gunshot and this ringing in this horrible pain in the side of my head, like so intense, like somebody's hitting my head with a hammer. It was so bad.
Wow.
I remember standing in the kitchen with you and leaning on the counter I was like, fuck, man, this is bad. And I remember rubbing my temple. I remember you were standing in front of me. I can see it like yesterday. I
Yeah, I
remember what you
remember.
were wearing. I mean, it's like, dude. And then you realized who it was, I think, after the fact, and it was the girl. It was his sister.
Well, I asked, yeah, because I guess he said that he could see her, I guess, crying or something like. And I
Yes.
text her and I was like, yeah, and she said, yeah, I would have you been, laying like, something and
Talking to him too or something. It was something very like specific or like, yeah, she was really upset.
yeah, that's
I mean, like,
crazy.
dude, stuff like that. It's just like I have to feel those pains sometimes to be able to go to know who it is. So I think I've just learned to accept it because I've had other mediums tell me, like, you don't have to do that. Like, that's spirit crossing the line. And I'm like, no, I've given spirit permission.
Oh, wow. So you
You're
have,
not, that's for us to feel that pain. I found out that that's us not setting boundaries. That's
oh,
100% us.
then holy shit, then I've never been good at setting boundaries.
I never knew I was supposed to because I just
Wow.
assumed. So when there's so many things. That's what I'm saying. I feel like there's like, it's almost like we need like a handbook of like the basic skills because nobody teaches us this shit. And it's literally trial by fire.
Yeah.
And it's us learning, okay, once we realize that all the power is in our hands, because we're actually fucking human, we're here, we're physically here. When we realize how much power we really hold, we realize it's like I laugh because I'm like, I feel like a wizard. I'm like Harry Potter. Like I'm like, boop,
Ah,
there's my little wand. Boop. Like
yeah.
I'm literally because I'm doing my work. I'm
Mm,
doing work for others. Has nothing to do with me. This, if anything, to be able to take on the physical pain and see shit that you don't want to see and have to relive moments of somebody putting a needle in their arm and fucking turning blue and watching them from
mm,
above and going through exactly what they went through at that time and seeing your brother and seeing him and the things that led up to that very moment. Like you can't unsee that shit once you see it.
mm,
How I see it is my ability, again, going back to astral traveling and being in that place at that very moment in time. And it's
mm,
not our loved ones on the other side making us feel shitty about anything. All that moment is a space and time to take me back to that place so I can relive and feel every fucking emotion, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, and relay that to the person that I'm supposed to be relaying that to. And I have to say, I think that's like the oath that we take. It's like we're willing to do whatever it takes within reason, within our boundaries that we set to be able to be of service to other people, but it has to be in a way that's still with love and responsibility, but on our terms, not on spirit's terms, not on our loved ones' terms. But the timing is always divine. It's
mm.
always perfect.
Yeah. No, that's crazy. Yeah, when you write the book, I'll be the first one to buy
Dude,
it.
I mean,
No,
this
but
is like it goes back to this whole Paul Bauer thing. Hang
yeah,
on, hold
yeah. I was
on.
about to bring. See,
Yes,
I was
dude.
about to bring that up.
I know you, man. But
I was about to because I don't think we finished because how you said about
because we
something.
set
So I
it
was
up, but we didn't talk about it.
we didn't finish. No, yeah, we didn't finish the how the wife, how you found the wife and all
Yes.
that.
So okay, so you and I, we just realized today's the 5 year anniversary.
Mm,
So he visited me. I ended up, Paul Bauer visited me through this. I was reading CNN. This picture of him told me I needed to reach out to his wife. So by the time I had these conversations with him over a period of days, I think it was like a couple of days. He, I said, you know what? I heard somebody say Google her. And I was like, okay. So I was like, I don't even know her name. So I Googled Commander Paul Bauer wife or
mm,
something like that. And her information popped up. And I went and I was like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
mm,
She worked for the mayor for like 35 years. He was a staple in the community, a Catholic, just a pillar of the community, just a
mm,
solid man. He had been on the police force for many years. I find this out after the fact,
yeah.
but I ended up emailing her. And I still have the email, and it's weird because I was cleaning out like space when my laptop died and I found the old emails. And it's like at midnight that I'm writing to her, and I remember typing them, and I remember tears, just typing these letters, and I couldn't even see because I was like typing through a blur of tears. Because again, I was feeling everything he wanted me to feel, and I was literally having to, how can I feel something for somebody I don't know?
Yeah, yeah.
These are emotions that I said, okay, I'm willing to do this. So give me everything.
Oof.
So I laid it all out, and I was like, I know this is going to sound crazy. You don't know who I am, blah, blah, blah. I said, your husband has visited me. These are the things that he said to tell you. Um, Back then I was still very new, but there were things. She's like, this is Paul. She goes, I asked him to send me a sign. And I said, he keeps talking about Katie. And
Mm.
I said, is that your middle name or something? He goes, no, Katie's his niece.
Oh, wow.
Like, and very close.
Mm.
Um, just things that, oh, and then, okay. So after that, I was like, so he had validated, she and I had talked, and she said she'd confirmed a lot of the things and said that, if he ever has any other messages to let her know. So
Mm.
I always now, once I've reached out, I'm like, if they need me, you have to bring them to me because I've already done what I can do. So fast forward, um, I needed to know that again, this was him. I said, Paul, give me like a code word. Let me know I did the right thing. Let me know if this is what you wanted me to do. And that's what I heard him say, Monopoly guy. I
Mm.
always have a code word just to say, okay, close the chapter, good to go. You did your job. Check, moving on. So I just carried that with me, tucked it in my pocket, no big deal. I think like the next day I had one of my artists had a photo shoot for her album cover. And Jimmy was like, do you want me to go to the store and get some water to take to the shoot? And I said, absolutely, grab some water, blah, 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 perfect. So he comes in that morning, I'm getting ready to leave, and the Kroger bag is on the floor, and I was going to open it up, or I was going to put it away with all the other recyclable bags and stuff. And there's something sticking out of the corner of it.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, what is this? I'm going to throw this away or fold it up, throw it away or whatever. I open the bag up so I can fold it. I have to fix it so I can fold it to be able to put it away.
Mm.
And inside of it is a little game piece with the fucking Monopoly guy on it. I guess they
What?
were doing a Monopoly game at the grocery store. It was during the pandemic, but this is before the pandemic. I'm sorry, this is right before the pandemic. But I also too hadn't been at the grocery store. Jimmy did all the grocery shopping,
Mm-hmm.
so I wasn't, and I don't play those games. So all of a sudden, I open it up. Oh, and I remember the night before I said, Paul, I said, when he said Monopoly guy, I remember saying, well, that's fucking weird. Like, that's just very random. And I was like, okay, we have a deal. And I literally in the air, I put my hand out and I shook his hand. And I was like, okay, deal. I said, Monopoly guy. I said, if you send me a Monopoly guy, I'll know that this is meant to be and that I did the right thing. But, and to also to validate that I'm not crazy, that I
Mm.
wasn't talking to a picture of nobody. So anyway, I open up this bag. There's a little game piece, and then I open it up again, and there's the whole game board. And on the back, it's the Monopoly guy with his hand out, shaking
No
his hand.
freaking way.
Yes.
Wow.
So this was him validating. So anyway, one of the things that also happened, he stayed in my life a lot for a little bit, and because he was the first real spiritual connection that I had where I felt like he was a protector, and then I felt like, wow, I had this real connection and all these things were validated. Like everything from, I remember when he was a baby and the stupid neighbor kids, these punk ass kids were fucking bouncing a basketball right outside my window, and I was about to lose my shit because as a new mom and you haven't slept, like you about to murder somebody. Right?
Yeah.
And I said, Paul, you're a cop. I said, make it stop. And all of a sudden, you hear the two boys talking, and they pick up the ball and they walk off. And I'm laying in bed and I'm just saying this to myself. And then it stopped. So I was like, okay, I know you're here. And then I hear him start laughing, and he's like, you got to trust me. Because he said
Mm.
that before when I said Monopoly guy, really? He's like, just trust me. So
Mm.
I hear him, he laughs, and he's like, remember, trust me. So I was in another reading and I just had this really emotional feeling like, oh my God, Paul's going to leave me. I haven't heard from him in a while.
Wow.
And all of a sudden I had this other person that I was talking to, and all these things started happening. And I was like, Paul, if you need me to, I said, I haven't heard from you. I said, you know, do I need anything? Like, do you need anything? It just feels weird walking away. Like, I feel like this, because again, he was very real to me. He is very real. He's very much alive. And I didn't want to let go because we had it was a very special bond. It
Mm.
sounds so weird saying that with a dead guy, like
No,
a
it makes
ghost.
sense.
But I didn't want to leave that. I didn't want to lose that because he really validated a lot in terms of like what I knew was real with my gift, and that I wasn't hearing things, and I really was communicating with somebody that I couldn't see, but their energy was really physically there with me.
Yeah.
And so this is a lot to take in, and it's a lot to process. So I remember one of the last things he said to me. I said, Paul, I don't want to say goodbye. I said, but let me know that you'll be back to visit me, and just let me know that like you're not leaving. And he said lemonade. And I was like,
Mm.
okay, that's another weird one. And he said, trust me. So a couple of days later, I get a text from the makeup artist, and she starts talking, and all of a sudden I start seeing like all this stuff. Like, I said, what's the deal with like Arnold Palmer? It's like a drink or something with like lemonade or something. And she said, oh, that's my fiance. That's PJ or whatever his name is. That's his Arnold Palmer with lemonade. That's his favorite drink. We're at and I was like, and they're talking about golf. What's up with golf and Arnold Palmer? She goes, we just got invited to the Masters, and Arnold Palmer is PJ's favorite drink.
Oh wow.
So the lemonade is an Arnold Palmer. So this was Paul's way of saying you have to let go because somebody else needs you.
Ah,
It was the lemonade, and it was the clue was the key to the next reading. And it's just, and it happened like that for a while.
that's
And then
amazing.
it just got to the point where I just know, like when somebody reaches out to me and I hear them talking to me, I always know that I'm going to figure out who they're for, because
Mm.
I don't know how I know, but I just know. It's so weird.
I
It's
know.
so weird,
I feel
right?
like I'm gonna ask you. You don't have to if whatever, but because I'm supposed to go to the like the funeral of my friend. I don't know if he comes through and he says anything, just in case there's anything for his family. Like,
Yeah.
let me know, because I haven't seen him. He hasn't came to me in a dream or nothing. So
Yeah, and I haven't seen anybody but that man
yeah,
that I
yeah,
described to you. So maybe that man's going to be somebody that he knows. Maybe there's a relay.
yeah. Mm.
Remember,
Oh,
remember the name Matt. I don't know why.
but is that someone that already passed, or you just see like you
I
don't know?
don't know.
Oh,
I
okay.
don't know. That's the thing. I never know. Like, I only get what they tell me, and then you'll realize the pieces.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you too. You know how you said like when they move the glasses, could all spirits do that, or is it just certain? Like, what's how come
I
some
think
could do?
there are some spirits that for instance, I think that was somebody that was trapped there that didn't know
Mm.
they were dead.
Oh wow.
So there are people that, like earthbound spirits, they go on living their life every day with the human people, and they interact. So some people might be like, damn, my house is haunted. But really, in reality, those people think their house has got somebody there that's not supposed to be there, because they can't interact with each other. They're they're on the other side of the curtain, they're on the
Mm.
other side of the veil. So they know that there are interactions happening, but they don't know they're stuck. So they're living life like every day is Groundhog Day for them. But we know something's happening because there's literally physically things that are we're feeling and seeing. But those people don't know they're not supposed to be here.
Yeah. Do you know how in movies they always show like, oh, when there's a spirit in the room, it gets really cold?
It's true.
Okay, because that happened as you were talking. I didn't want to, but I was like, oh shit, it got really
That's
cold.
probably your friend. We were just talking about him, the one the funeral.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because then that's why
His
I
name's
thought like,
Michael. His name's not Michael, is it?
no, it's not mine.
Okay, remember the name Michael and Matt. I don't know why. Those two names I keep hearing.
What the hell is? Well, Michael sounds familiar for some reason.
Okay, well hang on too, because I'm thinking right now, like
Cause it got cold. I was like, and that's when I was like, huh?
no, what about, do you know somebody that drives like a red truck? Something with the color red, because now I'm surrounded by red. So just remember all this
Yeah.
information. Or a red, is it a red SUV? I
I
don't
don't
know.
even know.
It's a red car. There's a red car. Okay, hang on. Maybe it's not a car. Hang on. Don't tell me anything about this, how this person died. Was this person like our age, kind of?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, about.
Okay, like I would say like not older than kind of the same age range. Okay. Was it a car accident or something where there would be a bunch of ambulances or fire trucks or something?
Yeah.
Okay, because that's the red. It's like fire trucks.
Oh.
Is it ambulance or a fire truck? I don't know. It's an emergency vehicle because now I'm wearing red pants too, man. And then I'm surrounded by like this.
Oh wow.
I've got red pants on. Like, okay, hang on. It's fucking weird because I feel like I keep wanting to say accident. Did he have a heart attack or something? Was there like a heart attack?
No. Not that I know of. I mean, no, it was an accident, but a car
Okay, okay,
accident.
so because I don't know who people are coming in with. I don't know if there's more people here, but I hear it. The only thing I know is there's emergency vehicles everywhere. That's what I see. So I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I don't know if that's just saying like it was
Like the paramedics and all that.
yes, like yes. Like they somebody tried to resuscitate or something.
Mm.
So I'm trying to figure out how. It wasn't a vehicle accident or like a motorcycle or
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
like
No, it
that.
was a car accident. It
It
was a car accident.
was?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, okay. Did you already tell me that?
Yeah, I told
Yeah,
you that earlier. That's
yeah. I
why.
couldn't remember how he died. I just remember like I wonder. Okay, maybe that's why they're reminding me all the this vehicle service vehicles. Um. Oh my God, though. Yeah, I want to see if I know who he is. If he tells me his name, or if I can see him.
Maybe his middle name was Mike, or so I'll have to look because I already saw the obituary. So
Did
I'll
he
look.
have a nickname?
Yeah,
Was it like somebody like Chachi or something like that? Was his nickname where it could be like two still? I keep he like he said then there's something about a nickname, and I'm like, dude, I don't know what that is. It's not anything I'm ever gonna figure out.
he had a nickname though.
Yes, that's what he's talking about. I know this is him. Hang on. I feel like it's like a food or something, or like another. It's not like a normal name. It's not like a fuck.
It's
Is it two syllables?
no. I mean, not the person I'm.
What's the nickname?
You want me to tell you?
Yeah, tell me what it is. Let me see if it's close to what I would hear.
Because I just seen when I read the obituary. I didn't even know that was his nickname, but it was
Because if he
Thorn.
brought it, Thorn.
Thorns.
Okay, okay. I don't know the nickname, but he had a nickname that was posted in the
Yeah,
obituary.
yeah, Thorns.
Okay,
I
so
don't
he's
even know
validated.
why. Huh?
Okay, you don't know why, but this is why he needed. He said nickname. Say something about the nickname, and you just validated this is him. Then I can't see him, but this is him.
Hmm.
Do you know his family really well?
I knew his cousin before I met him, but like through Instagram, I had been messaging with his cousin, and then I mean his whole family, because he would go to like powwows and stuff. So I
Yeah.
had even seen him before I even met him. I had already seen him at my first powwow I went to, everything. So I had already seen him, and then after we met and he was. Yeah,
I remember you posting something, but I don't remember what he looked like. Did you
yeah,
post? I think you posted something, didn't you? Did you?
yeah, yeah. I did.
Okay, yeah. I just don't remember what he looked
But
like.
I didn't post how he passed or not. But I told you that. But it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like,
No, but the nickname thing right there is validation. He said
yeah, yeah.
nickname. I just don't know what it was. Okay, so hang on. Is his mom still here? Do you
I
know?
don't know. Like
No,
the only
that's
one I knew 100% from his family is his cousin.
and how do you know him from like the sweat the
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
little
The whole like the native community I was a part of, like that. That.
did you guys ever like so you I'm trying to figure out like how personal like I'm asking him for like things like Like if there's anything like personal that did you guys have like personal like were you guys close?
I mean, it's like what I knew him from ceremony, right? But like I
I mean,
tell
did
him
you guys talk after that outside of that or was it only ceremony?
a couple of times outside of that. Yeah.
Okay,
But
yeah.
it's like, you go, you spend like the whole day. Like we'd get to, like, where we would have ceremony was at a ranch. So we'll get there early to help. We had to cut the wood. We had to, get everything ready, get, the grandfather, the rocks, get them blazing. So it'd be like a whole day thing, like, or do work on the ranch. Cause that was our way of, like, I guess, you're paying for having, someone allow us to have the ceremony there, right? So it's like we'd go do everything we needed to do. So, like you're spending a whole day every time there was a ceremony, like you're spending the whole day. And when I needed help, he was like, I think he was the first person I told when I went, because we had a ceremony exactly. My brother passed on a Saturday. The next Saturday, they happened to have a ceremony. And he was the first one I told when I got there. And like, and then I told the elder, and then they helped me dedicate it to my brother and helped me. So he helped me through that. Like, so I told him a lot of person, like I would always open up with him. Even once I remember, I don't know, should I tell you everything? Or, I mean, it don't matter.
Yeah,
You don't
no,
have
I
to.
mean it doesn't matter. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think the main thing is like I was asking because it's like I want to know like how detailed he's going to give me, but I think the middle name is very detailed, and I think the one thing he wants you to know too is like you were very special to him. Like you guys had a very that the reason I said what's your relationship because the way he shows me is like he keeps saying like my brother, my brother. So it's like very much like I don't know how you felt towards him, but that's how he felt towards you or how he feels towards you. And there were just things that you taught him that he was like I was supposed to be the teacher, like kind of like the he looked at himself like he was supposed to be the teacher, but you ended up being the teacher.
Mm.
Like some things that you taught him. But I think too, he said I think it's just important for people to know too that like he didn't suffer, man. That's the one thing people always want to know. Like, God, did he have pain? Was it? I hope it was like painless. And dude, he had like peace in his life. That's the cool thing. He was like, you know what? He was very much the kind of person that, how he's coming across to me. It's like, you know what? It's just my time, man. Just my time. And I'm okay with that because
Mm.
I've lived a good life. And I think that this isn't goodbye. This isn't goodbye. And I think this is the fact that we're even talking about him today and like Paul coming through and all this stuff. It's like, man, like, dude, we don't fucking die. And this is just his way, the middle name. Like, dude, the fucking middle name. And it's in the obituary. He's like, if he doesn't realize this is me, man, you know, then he's like, he's got a problem because this is him.
Mm.
And I think too that I don't know
You
if
know,
who's going to be there, but the one thing he keeps saying is my mom.
oh,
I don't know if like if his mom. That's why I said is his mom still alive. So I don't know
yeah.
if it means he's with his mom or his mom is still here. Um, but dude, he's very chill. Like just very chill, man. Like just chill.
You want, has this ever happened to you? Right now, when you were talking, you reminded me of him. Like, has that ever happened to you that you take on the mannerisms? Because you reminded me of him right now.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, you were like, I was like, holy shit. Like, you were reminding me of him. And that was kind of weird. Like, that was weird. I was like, holy.
Yeah, it happens because I'm not here, man. I'm just here. I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm
Yeah.
just
There was something, I don't know what you did, like something, and I was like, holy fuck, like, you know?
I've
It was-
said things that I don't even know what I've said.
Mm.
There was one person that I talked to once. All of a sudden, I pulled my pants up real high and I started walking funny. And I was like, he's walking. I said, he's walking like this. And all of a sudden, I realized I was talking to them and I had been scratching so hard in the spot my arm was bleeding. And
What?
that's what this guy used to do. He was special.
Wow.
So like I don't even realize it. And yeah, but it happens. It's like for a split second. It's like if that's why I'm here. But I think this is his way of saying, man, like thank you. Thank
Mm.
you. That's what he says. Thank you.
Mm.
Like this, like he's still very much alive. It's and he's happy and he's healthy, and this was his path. And he says that he feels good that he knows that he left a mark on the people that he needed to. Like that wasn't his goal, but he says stepping back and seeing things for what it is, he's like, I'm proud of my life's work.
Mm.
So, you know, that's
Yeah,
something
yeah.
that's cool.
No, yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like people think if people are stuck, like he's not stuck. If he was stuck, he wouldn't be able to talk to me.
Mm.
He'd be stuck. How would he be able to reach me if he wasn't in a plane where he has direct access to me? He's definitely not stuck. And there's a dog that he's talking about too. This is where I keep saying like Nacho or Taco or something. Um, I don't know if you're going to talk to his cousin, but there's this like brown dog, like a fluffy brown dog. So I don't know if he had a dog or somebody has a dog, but just like remember all this shit.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't make sense now, but it will. You're just a relay. It's going to be for somebody else.
Well, yeah, no, it's like no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, go ahead. I'll let you keep like.
No,
Oh,
that's crazy, dude.
yeah.
This is crazy.
Just because even that, right? Like, I don't know if because there was a part, I had to edit out, so I don't know whether I leave it in or not. But it's like how I told you, like almost like 2 years ago or something, where I messaged you. I was like, hey, like I had a dream that I let you have a dryer, and you told me like just right now, like your dryer messed up, you know?
My dryer has been messed up, and I told Jimmy like for the last like literally like the last couple of weeks, and then last night I was like, man, we got to get another dryer because it makes this loud noise,
Mm.
and I'm like, you think the neighbors can hear that? And it's just like it's so loud. And it's like we need a freaking dryer. And then so when you had that premonition or that dream, it just hadn't happened in real time yet.
Yeah,
Again, proof that you see like the future.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
It's
insane.
crazy. Man,
Yeah.
it's nuts. Like you can't make this shit up,
I
dude.
know, I know. Yeah.
Right?
No,
And
but I see, like I'm now I embrace it. So whenever you're ready to teach the class, let me know. Cause no, I just want to know, like even that, like I guess for me, no, it's just you reminding me, like okay, you feel the energy. Cause see, I have no boundaries. I think so. I'm cause, but see, I learned that from writing music. Like I feel like I've always been pretty decently control of my emotions, but when I would write, I'd feel everything. Like that's where I would just let it all go. So I knew I was channeling whatever the hell emotion I was channeling. Like even once I wrote a song about losing someone. And it was because at the time, like 4 people or 5 people around me had lost somebody significant to them. And I put all that into that song. And I remember that. And I remember even as I was writing the song, I started freaking crying. You know what I mean? So I was like, shit. So it's so that like, yeah, I gotta learn how to not embody the or let it pass, to get the message, okay, I feel it, blah, blah, and I'll let it pass through that kind of stuff. So you're gonna be
that's what
you're
it
the
is.
teacher.
No, I mean, but I had to learn from somebody too, and like had somebody not told me that, man, I'd be carrying around all this weight because sometimes I feel heavy. I feel like somebody's like pushing on my shoulders, and I literally have to shake it off
Yeah, yeah.
because sometimes we don't like you think you're setting boundaries, or at least sometimes I think I do, but again, it's like I let spirit push those boundaries a little bit because I like to be open and I like to just be surprised. You never know.
Mm.
But I also too that's taxing. And I
Yeah.
have to be firm in what I'm willing to allow. And you can be open for things like writing and letting everything download and put that out on paper or whatever works for you, but you have to let spirit know that I'm allowing myself to be fully encompassing and taking everything you're giving me for this specific purpose. Like that's the one
Mm.
thing that I also learned is you have to set like those intentions have to be specific. You can't say, "Oh, just, set my boundaries today." No, set my boundaries so I can be open to receive the messages that are important.
Mm.
Like and not allow it to cause me physical harm or to stress me out. Like those are the things that I think if again it's changing the pattern of the path that we're on by shifting the energy around us. You're literally dictating a different direction. But if we say it, if we don't say it, then how do we ever make it happen? And that's a whole nother, again, that's a whole nother thought process. Thought process is a whole nother path. It took me 30 something years to figure that shit out.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
Oh.
that's, again, when you realize that you don't have to question what you feel, you start not questioning anything.
Uh-huh.
And you're making the right decisions. And that's helped me so much in business. Like, in
Oh.
letting people go that no longer align with your energy, thinking that, oh my God, if I don't jump on this opportunity, that, oh my God, I'm going to miss another one. No, trust
Mm.
that the right place at the right time. And you invite what you want.
Yeah.
Like, not, you don't wait for the universe to say, oh, let me sprinkle a little bit of this down there. No, man. No, I'm in control of my shit. I
Mm.
needed a new laptop. Guess what? I manifested my new laptop, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's like, that's what it is. But I think people just don't believe that's possible because, again, they're programmed to believe that that's fucking hokey. That doesn't
Yeah.
exist. I was one
Or
of them.
the religious stigma. Before, because I don't know how much time you have, so I don't want to keep you
I
forever.
got,
But
I got a few minutes. I'm good.
okay, because I wanted to, in the beginning, we kind of mentioned the whole difference between paranormal and this and that. So, have you ever seen like like I call them star people. So, have you ever seen like the aliens or I hate using the word aliens, sounds
I
horrible,
know,
but
I know, I know.
yeah, have you ever seen like the other beings, the higher beings, star people, all that?
I've never seen actual beings.
Oh, okay.
I've seen lights from crafts, if that
Oh.
makes sense. Um, I saw it once when I was in Texas, but it's also too, we lived near a military post, and
Mm.
people, people would be like, oh, she's crazy. I lived on the lake, so I was laying in the driveway smoking a joint, staring at the stars, and I remember seeing this shape of these like lights,
Mm.
and they were each spaced apart perfectly. And they weren't moving, and I'm thinking, God, is that a flare? But that's not a flare gun, because a flare gun, you'd see it go up and you'd see smoke, and then it would be there, but there would be residual around it, and there wouldn't be a bunch of them that look exactly the same. And also the lake was behind me, not in the direction that I was looking.
Ah.
So, and there was, it just didn't make sense. And then I remember after like half an hour it was still there, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. And
Yeah, yeah.
everybody was already in bed. This was late at night. My parents were already asleep. It was on a weekend, so I was chilling. I think I was home from college or something.
Mm.
So I remember thinking, I'm just going to go to bed, or I'm going to go lay down. I'll come back out here in a few minutes or something. And I remember coming back out and sitting out there, and then there were less lights, and then eventually there were no lights.
Mm.
Like, and then at that point I was like, man, I will always say I believe in aliens, because I don't want to wake up one day and realize like I fucking was abducted and 20 years of my life has disappeared. Like, so I'm like, I believe in y'all. I believe in y'all. But I also like talk to them too. I look up to the sky, and it's like I'm obsessed with stars, and I know I'm a star seed. I know that this is not my planet, because this doesn't feel like home.
Yeah, yeah.
And at night, I look up and I'm like, man, I have so many questions. And then I'll say something, and then all of a sudden I remember thinking, sitting outside one day looking up at the sky, and I was thinking, God, are you guys out there? Because I always imagine, what if the sky isn't really the sky? What if it's a fucking reflection and it's a giant spaceship above us that just looks like the fucking sky?
Ah,
You know what I mean? I
that's
think it's stuff
interesting.
like that. I think it's shit like that, like some weird like reflective thing. And then all of a sudden I said, man, can you guys hear us? And all of a sudden a cloud shifted, and I swear to God, it looked like a fucking alien. And I took a picture of it. It looked
Mm.
like the fucking head and the big eyes. And I'm like, oh my God, you can fucking see us. Because they know that I communicate in a certain way. So they're going to communicate in a way that I would recognize, which is signs and
Mm.
symbols. And people that watch this might be like, this bitch is straight up fucking crazy. But I'm telling you, if I can talk to dead people, and I can astral travel, and I can walk through buildings that don't even exist anymore, and I can tell you exactly where the paint's chipping on the right corner and the yellow paint's chipping through, and I can tell you what cabinets used to be here and they replaced with a granite countertop. I can see shit that I shouldn't be able to see in
Yeah,
places
yeah.
I've never been.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how to explain that other than maybe the aliens are controlling me, some other higher power is transporting me to the places I need to gather the data that I have to collect to be able to give my presentation, which is basically my reading for the people.
Mm.
So somehow this all has to be intertwined. I can't imagine that God, what if God is like, did you ever see Prometheus?
Oh yeah.
Okay. What if the engineers really did create us and they're these beings? Like the Bible talks about giants.
No, well, that's in the Sumerian and the tablets and this and that. That's where the whole, the
That's
whole
what I'm saying. So are they really the ones controlling all of this? Are they really the ones, did they give me this gift? Or is this a program they just put in me for whatever reason? But again, I can't imagine being like this if it wasn't for the betterment of humanity.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I shared this. I could share it with you though if you want.
What?
I did have this one thing. I interviewed someone and I told them for some reason right before. See, it always happens right before, or I'll blurt something out, and then after, or they'll tell me after or something. But I told her right before. Oh shit! I didn't want to because I don't know. I don't think she wanted to talk about it. So
Okay, well then don't. We
no,
could
no,
talk.
no. I'll tell you my story. I just won't say. Oh shit. Well, whatever. Like I told this person. Well, this is my story, right? But I guess my whole point was I was gonna say someone else had a similar story that they messaged me after, but I'm not gonna say that then. Whatever, that was their story, right? But anyways, I had this experience where it looked like I was in a kind of medical room kind of thing. But it was pure women. It was all like the doctors or whatever, it was women. And then one of them, she took out this thing from here, and it was like this. It looked like a huge tumor right from like, it looked like where your pineal gland would be like a huge tumor. She's showing all the other women like, look, whoa, that thing was huge. And it was like that. And then so in this facility with all these, and they were all women. And then I came to, I was like, what the freak? So I felt like even that, like whatever operation it was that I was blocked from my third eye or whatever. But I felt like if I had done it, like if I've been blocking myself and blocking, that's what I'm telling you now. I'm becoming more open. This was probably last year or something. But even that, like, just knowing that someone else has had a similar, but they didn't want to talk about it. It's fine. But after, in private, they were like, yeah, like shit. So what are the chances that me and this person both saw this same facility? So how is that? You know what I mean? How is that even possible that this facility exists or something? Was it a memory? Was it that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm feeling weird. Maybe because, yeah, I don't like sharing other people's stuff if they don't want to talk about it. But at least my story, like, I don't know. I was in this facility with these, some shit. So I don't know what this place was. Was it a memory? Was it just that astral traveling? And they even did surgery on me on the astral travel. Was I abducted? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
but dude, this shit is real
yeah,
though.
yeah,
There's a
yeah.
story I did for Vegas Cannabis Magazine. One
Uh,
of the owner, his name is Bill Sheehan. He has video footage of
mm,
shit, and he was abducted.
mm,
Wife, like they got disconnected on the phone. It's like there's a whole article on it. I gotta send it to
wow.
you. Like there are things that have happened. There are places that people have been that these people don't know each other and their stories corroborate. To me, that is probably a memory that somehow didn't get erased because we're constantly downloading. And when I know this happens to you. Do you ever wake up in the middle of the night sometimes, or you're just somewhere and all of a sudden all these old memories start popping up? You're like, what the fuck? Like, where did that go? Where was that? Like random stuff. Like I had one where all these photos started flashing and it was from high school,
Shit.
like
Yeah.
at a birthday party at somebody's, like at a party at this guy's house, and I had braces, and I'm like, that's fucking weird. So I'm wondering, when sometimes when certain things happen, are we literally just like in the middle of a download
Mm,
and there's like a delay or something, or we're in the middle of an update and some of those memories don't get cached?
mm.
So some people, or is it that one memory that ties you to all these other people, that
Ah.
one consistency? Because I find that too when I talk to people that have had near death experiences.
Yeah, I've been trying to interview someone with that because.
It's
Oh
crazy.
yeah, yeah. Go ahead,
they
go ahead.
they see, I've had people say, like everybody says, have you seen heaven? Like I was on a religious podcast, not religious, but like a conservative podcast. And some of the religious questions came up and they said, have you seen heaven? I was like, I have. It's beautiful rolling hills of landscape and beautiful flowers, and everything's in technicolor. I don't see buildings. I just see beautiful landscape. It looks like a fucking postcard. And then I hear these stories from these people who've had near death experiences, and they talk about where they go.
Mm.
And I always tell people that when I see heaven, I also see all of the animals and that have gone on before us, and they all the animals, even though they didn't, your dogs may not have known my dogs, they all play together. All of our animals all know each other,
Yeah.
and they all hang out with each other. And this is the thing that I would always see when I would have readings with people too, and I'd see their animals come through, and I'm like, there was so and so this dog, and they're like, that's weird, that's my brother's dog, and they never met. I'm like, but they know each other.
Mm.
They're the connection. So it's no different. Like, for instance, like with what was I fucking saying? What was the dogs? There was a whole purpose of the fucking dogs. Oh,
Uh,
when people ask me like, what does
the
heaven
heaven
look
thing.
like, and I explain it to them,
Yeah.
I heard an interview with somebody on my friend's podcast, and they said it is beautiful rolling hills of green, and there's flowers. The color is so vivid and bright, and all the animals come running out together, and they all know each other. I'm like, how is this possible that I'm seeing when I see what people show me, and when I go to the other side, how am I seeing what people that also that I don't know are seeing the same exact shit that I'm seeing? It's no different than you being in a medical facility in some office like somebody else has. Like there's got to be something to that.
Yeah, it was almost like see through. I think the medical facility. It was weird. It was like I don't know. It was
Or
weird.
is it a past life regression, like a past life that you've lived where you were in these facilities somewhere?
But
I mean, I
everyone
don't
was
know.
a woman. Like the main doctor, everybody, like the one operating, everyone was a woman. So that was the interesting thing. Like it
Yeah.
was weird. But no, even that, like when I seen, that's why I wanted to interview someone with the NDE, because when my brother passed away, that's when I when whatever happened, like they took me, see, like the whole, like the star people, and they showed me how that's just the way it was gonna happen, almost like that. Like if we somehow agreed to that, of course I didn't tell everybody else that, because everyone's in grieving, they don't want to hear, you know what I mean? But somehow they showed me. That's why I kind of calmed down, right? They had
Right.
to show me that. That's what ultimately helped me calm down. And so see, I heard someone kind of say similar stuff with the NDE experiences. They're like, oh, they showed me like that it's kind of like the contracting. I don't know, that sounds weird, the contract, but yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, oh, well, you chose this and that, and it's kind of like that's why, in a way, I don't know, but that's kind of like similar, right? Like that's what I was shown. Now I was gonna say something else too about how you were talking about the clouds earlier, but I don't know. Were you gonna say something? Because I don't want to interrupt your train
No,
of thought.
no, no. That's all I
Oh,
was gonna say. I was just saying, like I just feel like there are too many stories that line up from people that are in two different places in the world, in the
yeah,
country. Like how are they so similar? How are they almost the same exact stories when these people don't know each other?
no,
Unless
100%.
unless they're accessing a memory of a place that they've both been.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's how I felt with this other person, but like I said, they didn't want to talk about it, so it's always hard because I get so excited and I want to share this stuff, but I'm like, I want to
But
respect.
people are afraid to talk about it because they're terrified. You
No,
and I,
yeah, and
we're in
yeah,
a different place. I think with us, it's more intriguing and we want to know more. But yeah,
yeah,
sometimes it's fucking weird. But we also have the ability to process it. Whereas some people that experience that shit, that's fucking traumatic.
yeah. Well, also, I think a lot of people, they do worry about their jobs or stuff like that, and to me, I just don't.
Yeah.
Like
Like
I
me,
don't.
like with the weed and stuff. It's like, dude, I'm just an open book. I talk to people know I smoke a lot of weed and I talk to dead people. It's like, dude, if you're not on this train, there's a million other fucking trains, man. You don't have to be on mine.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's but that's how we all find each other. Do you notice, like, have you noticed over the course of just probably like, let's say even the last 5 years,
Uh-huh.
have you noticed that there are certain people that have disappeared from your life because they just don't align?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know a lot of people that, and you kind of just have to be like, okay, like that's cool, because they have to, they no longer are like part of like where you're going.
Mm,
They were part of where you were, and where you what you were building towards. They were just a little small piece of what you needed to get where you are. And then once they're gone, it's like all of that space opens up again for all the new people that have to
mm,
come in and lead their knowledge, or leave you with their knowledge and their experiences, and you partake wisdom on them, and they fucking, then they move on, and then the door opens up for new people. And it's like, then before you realize it, you've got this like small army of a bunch of people that are exactly like you.
yeah.
And you realize, oh my God, is this like some fucking spiritual war? Like, are we building an army of people with our program? Because that's all it is. It's a different program. We're running a different operating system than the normal people.
Well, not only that, imagine like you have so much positive energy, right? And of course, I feel I have my battles, but obviously, like I made my choice. Um, but that, like, think about the people that are constantly pushing. Like, I mean, I just don't understand, like that, like the concept of wanting to war and plunder and pillage and greed and all this shit. Like, I don't get it, but I know it exists. So I don't know 100% yet how you're supposed to. Because I used to think when I was younger, I already had this knowledge, and I thought it was gonna be like just war. But then obviously, I don't think there's no way you're supposed to win it with violence. So I don't know how it's gonna be like. I've even thought that, like, oh, are they gonna come intervene or what? Or
Yeah,
how
I
is it?
don't even think it's going to be like that. I think it's just going to be to a point where we're going to be able to sit back and be like, "Oh my God, this is one type of people versus another." And at the end of the day, dude, it all comes down to politics and power
Mm,
and religion.
yeah, yeah.
And when you start looking at the state of the world, back in the day, like at least for me, I turned 46, like at least for me, back in the day, like we said the Pledge of Allegiance in class and shit, like we bowed our heads and prayed. Like, but then there was the whole separation of church and state, which is fine. But then you can't put people in public in office that are going to manipulate other people based on religion and based on fear. And I think a lot of people that are like us run from these types of gifts because they are worried about, like you said, what other people are going to think, but also, oh my God, am I going to burn in hell for even having these conversations? Like, is this against the Bible? Am I seeking false idols? Am I just things like that that make somebody that has been programmed to believe something their entire life for generations. How do you undo all of that unless you're just crazy? And clearly I'm crazy because I
Ah,
did all of that,
yeah.
but I don't believe I undid it in one lifetime. I have these memories of crazy shit. Oh, like crazy stuff. Like there's this one that I have where I'm in a front seat, I'm in a car and I'm getting abducted.
Oh shit.
And there's a child with me, and it's probably Winnie in another life.
Mm,
And all I know, it's like, it looks like a 70 in the 70s, and there's this big heavy set man driving a car, and he's got one hand on the steering wheel and he's got another gun right here to my head, and he's like, don't fucking try to move.
wow.
And Winnie's in the back seat with somebody else. And it's like a fucking Hollywood movie, but I've had this vision before, and I finally realized it's a fucking past life.
Mm,
All of a sudden I said, well, we're driving over this bridge. It looks like the fucking, like the Golden Gate Bridge, or like New York, like the New York Bridge or whatever. I can't even tell. It's one of those. And I remember thinking, I refuse to take a bullet to my fucking head in front of my daughter. And
mm.
all of a sudden, it was an old car, because it was the old big old steering wheels that are real thin and skinny and round. You know what I'm talking about? It was like an El Camino or something.
Mm.
Um, and I remember just reaching over and grabbing the steering wheel with both of my hands and just pulling as hard as I could. And then all I know is the screen went black.
Wow.
And I saw that, and then I had this other vision. Like, I know that was a past life, and it
Yeah.
was just, again, I know every life I'm protecting somebody, I'm
Oh,
fighting. So
yeah.
I know that's why I have this like nature in me that's just feisty and fucking no fucks given, like
Yeah.
I will fight till the death. And when you have a child,
Mm,
oh man, it becomes even worse.
mm,
Like you will do whatever it takes. So I just feel like a lot of these, sometimes I look at these, sometimes I start having these thoughts, these things like this. I'm like, is this the darkness trying to creep in? But I realize, no, these are memories that are still part of whatever's been programmed in that either haven't gotten erased yet, just like your memory, or are these truly our past lives? Which for them to be a memory, they had to have happened to us. I believe in a past life. I don't think it's necessarily here because I've been on Earth and I haven't been abducted by a dude trying to kill me and my daughter.
Yeah,
Not
yeah,
it from a car from a time in the 70s. I can't transport back to the 70s.
yeah. No, and it's crazy because like I remember I had all these dreams, right? And I don't know, I was talking to you once, and I remember you told me you saw like some of my past lives, and because it went with stuff I had dreamed that I had never told anybody, I was like, oh shit, so that's what that was. I had never told anybody because some of them were pretty like out there, you know. So I was like, I don't want to tell anybody that shit. But you were
Yeah,
like,
I
oh,
know, but it's true.
yeah, yeah, because you were like, I see you like this and that, and I was like, oh shit, I've dreamed that stuff. So that's what that was then, like a past life, I
That's what
guess.
I'm saying. They're memories because
Yeah,
how
yeah,
can they be so vivid? How can
yeah,
you remember certain details if they aren't already somewhere, if they didn't physically happen?
yeah.
You know what I mean? No different than when people are like, when I'm talking to people in real time that are telling me things just like this. Your friend, this guy said, say my middle name, talk about the nickname, the
Mm.
nickname. That's all I heard. Say the nickname.
I
They're
want to see. Let me. I think someone had sent me. Let me see the. Go ahead. Go ahead. Keep talking.
no,
I'm just
no.
gonna
I'm
keep
just
looking.
saying. All I'm saying is things are happening in real time, and if I can go through and describe information that I've never been, like I said, like the inside of houses down to very tiny details, how am I able to access something that A hasn't already either happened because I can remember the details,
Hmm.
or I'm physically there at the same time I'm physically talking to you? You see what I mean? So either way, there's something fucking weird going on.
Yeah. No. 100%. Um. When people like they hit you up for like your services, like what are some? So do you do? Are you able to do like on command, like for like the past life thing for people, or like what are some of the things?
Yeah, I do it all. I have clients that call me, sometimes I won't even know what they're calling me for, what they want a reading for. Sometimes it'll be to talk to people on the other side, sometimes it'll be for past life regression.
Mm.
Sometimes it will be for their animals that are on the other side. Sometimes it'll be to talk to their animals that are here now because if you think about it, we all have the same type of soul. We just happen to have a different casing in this life. Some people get human bodies, some souls get fur bodies.
Yeah.
But when you take the casing off, we all are these individual little beautiful lights.
Oh.
So how is it any different when I have a reading with a pet that gives me information like I'm talking to a person? Because it's happened. I've had dogs that come to me from the other side that they talk to me like in a personality, like I can tell you how they sound, and they're like, oh my god, that's the owners are like, that's how we always envisioned they would sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'll say certain things. One little dog, she took me through, all of a sudden I was in a car and she was in my lap and I'm driving through and I'm like, where am I realize I'm at McDonald's and I'm getting an ice cream, that somebody's handing me an ice cream for the dog.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
owner validated that was the last place we went. We got her
Wow.
ice cream before she left, before we
Wow.
went to have her put down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then there was another one, this other guy I don't even know. I knew his little guy passed away because I saw a post about it, but I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I didn't know him well. All of a sudden, I'm sitting outside and I see that little dog Max walk around the corner again in my mind's eye. Like
Mm.
there's other people that would be here would not see anybody, but I see this little animal.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he says, and I can hear him like grunting and snorting, like because he's a little Boston Terrier. And he said, "Look at your sweater." And at the time, I was wearing this sweater that looked like a teddy bear, like camel color,
Mm.
kind of like light brown. And he said, uh, he wanted me to tell his owner about his toy, and I couldn't tell if it was a dog or like it was like a dog or something. It looked like a dog or a lion or something. It was like the color of like a dog. And I sent a picture to my friend and I said, I think your dog is with me.
Mm.
And he's talking about his toy and it looks the color of my sweater. And he's talking about, I think it's a dog. He took a picture of, he's like, I'm freaking out right now. He took a picture of the toy It was a toy, the same exact fabric and the same color as my sweater. It was a hot dog toy. I could only see it. So I kept thinking it was a dog. It was a hot dog. I could just see what he was showing me with the tail end of it.
Ah.
And again, that happened in real time.
Mm.
So it's like, man, I don't know. I don't know what any of this means. I just know that we're like we're surrounded by everybody, and it's our choice whether we want to communicate with them or not. And some people really do need us to help them because they are stuck. But
Yeah.
I feel like we'll always know if they're stuck or if they're people that are here that just want to be here because this is the place that made them the happiest. Because there
Yeah.
are people like that too. And I always like to just, for instance, the people that are still in my house, um, I don't think they're stuck. I think they just, this house is such a happy place. And I've made so much music here, and there were creative people that lived here. I
Ah.
think this was just a place that was just a happy home.
Wow.
So their energy will always be present because I don't want it to leave unless they want it to leave. But they haven't told me they want to leave because they're still very much um, present. You know, it's crazy.
You feel you could, because once I did that, because that's when I was around the whole like Christianity thing, and I did this whole little thing, and there was a like there was a little girl that used to be in the house that we were in, and then I uh I did this whole thing, and then I guess I was astral traveling. I got confirmation that it was a real experience, but I remember it was like I was walking, and the room didn't have. I mean, it had curtains and everything, but when I was, I guess, in this astral world, I didn't. I was seeing through everything, and there was a little boy, like a little brown boy outside, and he was just looking at me like, "Why'd you kick us out?" Like I was like, I felt horrible, and then when I woke up, I was like, "Oh, what an ass!" But he had never came out. I had never even seen. I would just see the little girl. Like I seen the little girl while I was awake, and my dad had seen her too, and all this stuff. So the little girl was like it was real. I've even wanted to know like what had happened in the house before. I never looked, just like how you had said earlier. But yeah, I guess I kicked them out. Like I felt bad after. Like, have you ever?
Yeah, but the thing is, it's not that oh, I know what you're talking about. You feel bad, like, oh my God, they wanted to be here. If they want to go, they're gonna go.
Yeah, yeah.
So you didn't kick them out.
You
Don't
don't
feel
think
bad. No,
you don't
no.
think that we have the power to drive them out?
I think we can, but I
Yeah,
think that if you truly don't want them there, then yes, you have to get them to go.
yeah.
But I think them feeling like they're getting kicked out is because they don't, like, what the fuck are they supposed to do? They don't even know they're probably not supposed to be here anymore.
Oh shit.
Probably don't realize they're gone. So they just think they're getting kicked out of a house that they've been living in their entire life. They don't know they're
Oh,
not supposed to be here. They're those are the people. I hate to use the word stuck. They're not stuck. They're just earthbound
yeah.
because something probably happened suddenly or unexpectedly. Usually that's what happens. And they don't know that they're not supposed to be here. Or there will be residual energy that will be stuck. So let's say there's energy of a child. That
Mhm.
kid could very well still be alive, but the
Yeah.
person that's trying to communicate with you is on the other side.
No.
That happened. I found out, I think one of the little girls, I think it might be the little girl that Winnie was seeing in this house. I don't think she's gone. It's her
Oh,
grandmother, because Winnie also saw an older woman that
wow.
the neighbor validated is on the other side. And
Wow.
she used to watch her in this house. So, I mean, just crazy stuff, man. Like,
Yeah.
for people to believe that we just die, and that, or the people that are religious, I respect everybody for what they believe, but for people to be so fearful, thinking that when we die here, our life is going to be judged, and that's going to determine if we burn in the fiery pits of hell or if we go to heaven with our loved ones. I don't believe that's true. I
Mm.
believe that people that live good lives and that are caring and loving and kind and try to do the best they possibly can are going to be in the good place. I believe the people who are malicious and murderers, and I'm not talking about somebody who took somebody's life by mistake. I'm not talking about people. I'm not there's a very there Some people in religion would feel they believe that one sin is the same as another. I don't
Mm.
believe that, because we all sin. None of us are free of sin. A majority of us are free of murder. That's, to me, that's the ultimate. Like, I feel like if a sin is a sin, then that's saying like somebody that uses God's name in vain is the same as somebody, stabbing a baby. Like, that's two totally different things. You know, but religion teaches people to believe that you should be fearful. And I don't believe the God that I've seen and that I've talked to, and the God that has given me this gift is not a vengeful God. The God that I talk to in the spirit, and the higher power that I communicate with doesn't condemn people for loving people that they love, regardless of the way they look or what they're brought up to believe, or their gender, their race, whatever. I believe love is love. I also don't believe that a loving God is going to punish somebody by making them burn in hell because they were so tormented on this earth that they felt no other option but to be free from this hell. This was hell. I don't believe those people are being punished in another place when they lived their hell on earth. Like your brother, I don't believe for a minute. And then for him to come through was prime example of how would I be able to talk to people that are in hell?
Yeah.
If like how if somebody that dies by taking their own life is in hell, how would I be able to talk to them?
Yeah.
Because they don't go that's not where they go.
Yeah.
That's not true. The people that go to a place, whatever you want to call it, to me, I believe it's just this place of emptiness and isolation, which is enough to kill somebody. I believe they go to this place of emptiness where they're secluded from all of the love and all of the light and all the positivity, where they can no longer be attached to anything that is good. Those are the people that I can't talk to them, man. Like they don't even have access to like open the first door of that chain. Like, it's just not possible. But these are the things that made me question my faith, because how can I be raised to believe something all of my life, and then I'm talking to people that died an exact way that I was told I'm going to burn in hell if I ever took my life? Like, and how am I talking to them and getting vivid descriptions and walking through a house that is no longer occupied by them but still has their things in it? Like, how? That you validate how, unless I was there in some kind of way, or they downloaded all of this information into my head to give me this information because they are in a happy place. I mean, I don't know. It's like but there's nobody to there's no scientific, there's no empirical evidence to validate anything that we're experiencing, other than, maybe, when NASA came out with there's parallel universes and shit, but like, other than that.
But see, I guess in a way, well, we do validate each other, because, and that's all I need. Like, if you validate something for me, then I don't need no scientist. That's the thing, is like,
I
I don't
know,
need
you're right.
I don't need a priest. I don't need the Pope. I don't need a freaking astrophysicist. Like, because if you're experiencing, like even earlier where you said like, oh, I must be crazy about the clouds. Like, I've seen, that's one of the things that I see. Like, I'll see a premonition in the clouds. I'll see like something in blue. Like, I remember once seeing like a woman with her baby, and then later that day there was a woman with her baby. I was like, so that was a whole nother. I was like, nah, like, okay. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, this is on some where the clouds are like forming. Oh,
Yeah.
and when you talked about like, I had where I said like in the star people, like I went through a portal and I appeared where they were at, and it was almost like on this earth, but it seemed like a different dimension to this earth, right? And I was in a place that I had never been. I didn't even know what this place was. And then, so when I woke up, I knew, so I looked it up, and there had just been, oh, there was a cloud shaped like a UFO right there that day that I had the experience. And they were like, oh, well, what causes these clouds is this and that. I was like, bullshit. That was
Was this recently?
no, this was like years ago. But
Okay, because there was another one of those kind of crazy clouds and shit too. Do you see
yeah,
that shit? And it's like,
no,
no, dude.
yeah, it's happened to me. It's happened to me twice. I seen one once where I took a picture of it. I went for a hike like on New Year's. I was like, this is my New Year's. Like, I didn't go out and drank nothing. And the next day I got up early. I went for a hike. And I was like, oh, I think I even posted like a joke about it. Oh, look, they came to visit me or something.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, and then it looked exactly like a thing. But then when that happened later, like a couple years after, and I went through this portal, and they were there, the higher beings, and I even looked them up, and people have even drawn sketches, or I was like, oh shit, this is them, you know? And oh, this was the thing. See, when I saw them, it took me like 2 months to detach from their energy. So I feel like that's where I come from, because I felt so much love. Like I've never felt anything like that here on earth, to where it took me 2 months to like, man, I'm still here. So but they were really tall, pale skin. Like they always say, oh, I think it's those that people say Palladians or whatever, but like they always draw them with blonde hair. Like there was one, I called her my star wife,
Love it, love it.
Yeah, I don't know if she really, I claimed her anyway, so whether she likes it or not, right? So
That's
anyway,
funny.
but she had authority. No, she was wearing like this, because there were like three males, and then there was her, and she had like this kind of crown thing, like if she had authority. And even when my brother passed away, when she took me to where he was, she was in art, like she looked like me and you, like she looked like someone, almost like I thought she was in the military, but she was dressed like us, like she was in charge. Like she didn't have like the military clothes, but you could tell she was in charge. And she just gave me a nod, and she let me go to talk to my brother. And then after, so when she appeared to me again, this time she was like how they really look, and whatever. And then I remember thinking something, and she was reading my mind, and I was like, oh shit. So we were talking telepathically, but she had this authority, you know what I mean? But then after, I felt like, oh, I didn't even want to be here no more, because that felt so good. I felt so much love with them. It took me like 2 months just to shake it off and be like, well, shit, I don't think I'm leaving yet. Like, you know what I mean? That's when I was going through everything, blah, blah. But just all my point to that was about the clouds, right? So I've seen things in the, so when you were saying about, I forgot what you said you saw in the clouds, but
Dude, I saw a fucking alien's face
yeah,
when I was talking to them, and I was like, do y'all see us? Can you see me right now?
yeah, yeah.
I'm like, can you hear me? And then it formed, and I took a
Oh,
picture, and I'm like, oh
yeah, yeah. No, so I believe 100%. See, so even that's so weird to me. How is that even possible? And then it makes it seem like, I mean, it's kind of messed up the context, but like how when they said in the Lion King that Simba or something looking at the clouds, and it writes sex. I don't know if you ever saw that, how they
yeah,
say,
like all the Disney things.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like that, like they're drawing stuff in the clouds, like to show you, like, hey, this, that, that.
Yeah.
But like that, they'll communicate any way to get your attention. Any
Well, in a
damn,
way that in a language that you understand.
yeah.
Like some people don't communicate, they don't understand the cloud language. Like you and I get the cloud language. We
Yeah.
understand it. But
Yeah.
some people don't get the Super 8 film language where people show me their life and messages through film, through
Yeah.
videos. Like it's everybody has like their own way to interpret. And I just find it so fascinating how like there's just such a wide gamut of I don't even know what this is. Like it's not paranormal. It's just like spiritual alien. Like what I don't even know. It's just this other like force. This other like thing, this other world. Like I feel like I'm living in two fucking worlds, man. Because
Yeah.
half
Yeah.
the time I don't know when I walk through certain places, I'm like, are these people real? Are these like souls? You know?
No, like even when we were talking, there was a point where I felt like I was watching like myself, almost watching you, like watching the computer screen. It just felt so weird that I had to like like that. I told
You
you
have to
earlier
come
how I
back
felt
like
like,
you're gone. It's almost
yeah,
like you disassociate. I've
yeah, yeah,
noticed
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Like I'm
So
like, did I just go somewhere for a minute?
yeah,
Sometimes
yeah,
I trip out because I'll be driving and I always think, I'm always got things going on in my head. And then I'll realize I don't remember even like how did I already get home? I don't remember any of this. And then I'm like, did I have a stroke? Am I like having a fucking stroke? Like am something wrong? Or is something wrong with my brain? And so I'm wondering in these moments when I'm so focused, am I literally disappearing for a
Mm.
minute? And because there's always information, I'm always on like some kind of path. Like there's always something I get out of that. But it's just sometimes it's just mind blowing to me. Like I don't know, dude. All I know is I gotta go get Winnie in a few
Yeah.
minutes.
No,
But
no, no, for sure. I was about to eat at the same time, because I was like, okay, like,
I know because I'm like I gotta pee again too. Yeah,
yeah,
man.
no,
This is so crazy. Oh, this has been awesome. This has
no,
been so
no, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm honored. I appreciate you more than you know. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's why, like, I wanted to make sure, like, I could say 1,000,000%. I vouch for you. Like, If anyone calls you crazy, I'm crazy right there with you, right?
Yeah, we're
But
both crazy.
yeah, but also like if anyone wants to get a hold of you, because you also have a podcast channel, you still have that, right?
Yeah, I'm actually just doing Instagram right now. We're
Oh,
setting up
okay.
a whole YouTube
Okay.
channel and stuff. Working on a radio show, all that kind of stuff. So right now, the best way to just contact me is Instagram.
Okay.
Because my email's on there too. If anybody has questions or wants to book a reading, but or just general insight. This is a fucking weird space, man, and it's kind of nice when you can find people that get it and you can provide like a safe space for them to share. I think that's really important because this
No,
is
most
weird.
yeah,
This is
yeah, no
fucking
most
weird.
well, that was the whole purpose of like the podcast, to so for people
Yeah.
not to feel afraid, even though I mean it's still sometimes, but just that
It's
to not
scary.
yeah,
It's like, I guess the whole thing is like, I don't want people shouldn't be afraid. Um, they should just be open.
yeah,
But it's the fear is like fear of the unknown. It's just different. It's like
yeah,
you can't be afraid of something you don't know. You just got to be open to seeing if it's something that you're afraid of or something you want to explore.
yeah, 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 most definitely. Um, yeah, no, so I don't want to keep you forever. Maybe, I don't know if whenever you want to do this again, you already know. Maybe we could
Yes,
even do
man.
a live, and if
We
people want,
should.
yeah, yeah, if
We
people want,
should. And we should even like maybe we could even have somebody else on and we do like a reading or something.
okay, yeah,
Or
yeah,
have like another guest and like just like have a conversation. You never
yeah,
know because dude, we never you know how this works. You never know who's gonna come through, man. I'm
yeah,
still trying to figure out who this man that I saw that I keep calling Matt
yeah, yeah,
with the brown hair and the glasses and the heavy set guy in the plaid shirt. Like I know it's for somebody that's gonna see this.
yeah,
That's what
yeah, 100%. No, if yeah, I don't even know. I'm trying to think like maybe yeah, 100%. Someone that sees it is it's gonna
or
be for
somebody
them.
that you haven't run into yet. Like I'm telling you, you're a relay. There's a relay situation here. It's not you personally, but this is somebody that somebody's coming through for somebody that you know. And again, I
That
don't even
I
know if
know.
this person is here still. I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, no, no. Or, I was even thinking like if you ever want to go to like some like how you said like the what is it the
Oh, like the
Cecil?
Cecil Hotel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
any place I'll go. I'll record you as you feel out whatever.
Dude, I know I need to buy I want to get like an infrared camera because
Oh,
they're online. I want to get one because they've got the like cheaper ones
mm,
that get infrared, but they've got the mic and everything, and then
oh.
we just fucking see what we can do. I want to do that. Oh, we gotta go like do
No,
like
no.
some
I'll look.
paranormal shit.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll look into them, and yeah, I'm down to go. Like I'll buy one, and then we'll see.
Yeah, dude, and we'll just go see like what we get because I have spirit boxes and everything.
Oh, see, I don't have. Yeah, I wanna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
It's
it'll
like
be cool.
that's what I'm saying. It's like the whole Weedium. It's like there's a difference. I ain't pulling out no Ouija boards and shit like that. I'm not
Yeah,
fucking
yeah,
with
yeah.
the dark. But I believe these tools give spirits the ability to be able to communicate with us because they need to use power sources
Mm,
and energy. And I can only do so much, and these things pick up things that we can't hear.
yeah.
But when you go back, obviously we'll find things that we can corroborate like who we're talking to. Things will happen. And then we'll find out if these are people that my whole thing is it's not most people go out to seek out these ghosts and kind of instigate, drama and shit like that. I want to go to these places and find out like who is stuck, who
Mm,
truly is stuck, because
yeah.
it's our job to help them to the light. And I think that is kind of my approach on why I do this. It's not to go be like, oh, let's talk to Mary who murdered her children. No, man. I want to talk to her children who are trapped that
Mm.
need to go to the light and be with the people that are waiting for them. Like shit like that. Like that's what it's about.
That'd be amazing. I'm all for it. Like I'm
It'd be fun,
yeah.
dude. I'll be scared. I'm not gonna lie. I'll be like, oh
No,
god.
I trust because I know I feel the energy. Like on my other channel, I was doing like I was visiting cemetery. Like my most watched video had like 50 something thousand views, and it was like I went to Easy's grave. So a lot of them were doing good. So I was doing that, but then the energy got so heavy, I couldn't do it no more. See, I didn't realize like being because even one of the last times I went, there was so many burials that day. I think I was picking up.
Oh, everything. Because again, you don't have boundaries, dude.
Yeah,
You're
I
just
didn't know.
wide
Oh,
open,
I didn't know.
man.
Yeah,
You're
yeah,
like a magnet. They
yeah,
just see you with your light on saying, I'm here to help. Your fucking open signs on, man.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
like they need you to find their people. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah. So that's why I stopped doing that. But I'm all for it. Like, obviously you would know better how to, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where there's no rules. We just wing it. We have our little things set up and we just find a location. I even wanted to go to like a cemetery and I called my friend that's a cop
yeah.
because I said, okay, so I just need to know, is this an arrestable offense? Like if we're out there recording and the hours are, they close at 5, am I going to get in trouble?
Yeah.
And they said, honestly, the only thing that can happen is if security or somebody told you to leave and you refused to leave, then if you didn't leave, it's trespassing. They can't arrest you, but they can call somebody to come out and arrest you.
Oh.
So, or the owners of the cemetery have to come arrest you, but most people just leave. So I'm just trying to even think, like, I know even in my house, like there's some stuff. I have to tell you about like the what's in my house because it's really cool. Like when I
Oh.
tell you, because
Yeah.
it's somebody famous, but I don't want to
Oh.
blow it on here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe that could be one that we like do a session. You come over and we do like spirit shit
Yeah.
over
Yeah.
here
No.
in person.
Yeah. 100%.
But dude, I don't know. All I know, dude, we don't die. We
Yeah.
don't die. This is crazy. And I feel like, yeah, there's always a dark side, but I feel like we're here as light workers. There's no reason that we can't cross over into the paranormal realm and help the people that truly are earthbound, disembodied spirits that don't know they're not supposed to be here anymore because they're literally living every day like it's Groundhog Day, or they're afraid to leave because of, oh my God, am I going to burn in hell like I was taught? Am I
Wow.
gonna am I gonna be judged for all the bad things that I did? Like, so
Wow.
they would rather stay in limbo and just do the same thing over again because of the fear of what they've been taught to believe.
Wow. That's
And
sad. Yeah. Yeah. That's
and our
crazy. No.
job is to help them realize, like, dude, you have nothing to fear because all of that's bullshit. None of that exists.
Yeah. No. And there's a abandoned cemetery I went to because you were talking about that. Like you have to go through like some railroad tracks, and then
Oh
I did a
wow.
yeah, I did a video of it because we had gone like drinking when I was like in high school. I just remembered that we went through some railroad tracks. It was dark. But I looked it up, I Googled, now thanks to Google, I put around the city it should be in, and I found it. And I think it was a Wild Wild West town where even there's graves that are unknown. And there's like babies even or unknown. And I guess it was like a Wild Wild West town. It was called Spadra, not Sparta, but Spadra. And when I
Wow.
went to, I heard women's voices there. I remember I said it on the video. I'm like, I just heard some women's voices, but there's no one here. I was the only one there. So I think that'd be, if you ever want to go there, we could
Yeah,
go.
man. And there's a bunch of places, that there's a bunch of like places over here by me because this is old Culver Studios.
Mm.
This is where they filmed Wizard of Oz,
Oh shit.
all the old Shirley Temple movies, like everything here, just in this vicinity is all like historical. There's like some crazy shit. Down the street is the house where the fucking Conjuring, the real
Oh,
house.
oh,
It's
the
down
real?
the real one. It's on Broad.
Wow.
It's right across the street from my daughter's school. It's right here. I
Wow.
can walk to it. It's crazy.
Wow.
Um, there's just so many like crazy places. Like we just got to be smart too because it's a weird fucking world,
Mm.
and I'm not about to be like walking around with a gun and get popped because I don't have a fucking license to carry and shit.
Ah,
Like
no, yeah, yeah, no, I'm good. I'm like, yeah, no, we'll be
yeah, so
careful on
I
that.
will go places where we can because I think even during the day it could be cool. We'll
No,
see.
that's what I'm
Either way,
telling you.
we're gonna figure. But I want to go to some other places too, like fucking creepy. Like
There was one place I feel, oh man, it gave me the worst feeling. I went, they call it the like the only lawless town in the United States or something like that. It's way out, but it's really far, right? But it's basically all like, I don't know if it was just all homeless people. They call it Slab City. It's just
wow,
everybody like trailers, people building houses out of pallets or tires.
wow,
It's really crazy place, but there was this tree made out of shoes. And when I went up to it, I had the I don't know if in all those shoes there was someone's shoes that were probably, if they something happened to that person or what, but there was just like, I'm talking about over 100 shoes, and they made a
oh my
tree out of it and all this
god.
stuff. And I had the worst feeling. So I was like, oh man, I bet you someone's shoes are in here that something happened to them. But I just
Dude,
left.
you know it. That's the energy, man. That's like when you have also that much energy, you're dealing with all their fucking traumas.
Yeah, yeah.
Not only like why they're not here, but like all the energy that they fucking carried with them and shit like that too. Like that's just intense.
Yeah. No, so yeah, we'll do it in a careful way. Like I feel it, you feel it, so I'm sure we'll get the warnings and and
Yeah,
all that.
we'll know. And as long as we don't make a mockery of it, we're doing this like to truly help people. But you know, we also have to know, again, going back to the boundaries, like if there's something that feels fucking off, like we know to get the fuck out of Dodge.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
we aren't here to save the darkness. We're here to save the, like, to help the light, you know?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh,
This has been awesome. You're
no,
so
no, for sure, 100%. That's funny. Like we kept after we were gonna end it, we just get.
I know, dude, but that's like, dude, every time I talk to you, like it's like 17 conversations at once. It's like, dude, there's just so much to fill. Like we haven't talked in so long, you know?
No, most
Crazy.
definitely.
It's crazy.
Yeah, no, most definitely.
Okay,
So
dude.
thank you once again. I'll put the link to the Weedium then, right? That's what.
Yes,
Okay.
my Instagram or Shannon at theweedium.com. Either
Okay.
way, they'll find me.
Okay, perfect. So thank you once again. Yeah, I don't know what else. Just thank you.
Oh, dude, it's amazing. High five. This is awesome. This is
We'll
awesome.
talk soon, and yeah, hopefully we'll do it again or get something going. You know.
Yeah, we will, dude. I'll keep you posted. I'll check out some places too, and
Okay.
we'll just kind of put our heads together and figure it out.
If you see like I'm gonna look for the whole infrared camera, but if you see one that
I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link. It's like the one I saw, like it was like less than $100, but it keeps getting sold out.
Okay.
But I'll send you the link because I don't know if it's available right now. But it's like I've done all my research. I'm not like no fancy high end shit. This is like the basic, get the job done.
Okay, yeah. Send me the link.
I will. All right, dude. Be good. Right. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, you too. Have a great day. Okay.
You too. Bye.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah, sometimes you just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? You just feeling it. And I want to feel this way forever.